And welcome to Trader TV Live. Futures in green territory here with the exception of the Dow. Starting out the day down 0.12. The Nasdaq leading the way up 0.25%. Likewise with the ES up 0.1. The Russell 2000, leading the way up 0.33%. We'll keep an eye on that. Lots to talk about today. More tariff issues as 14 countries receive reciprocal tariff updates from the Trump administration. We'll talk about that momentarily. Apple and Meta also in focus, looking to pick up more talent is Zuckerberg from Apple. This time we'll talk about that. Datadog in focus, getting a downgrade today from Guggenheim, and Google with Waymo expansion ADRA out in Philadelphia. Interesting look there. Good morning.
Good morning, Sharif. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of stories to talk about. A lot of them are actually going to be upgrades or downgrades. We know solar's on the move here. Some more executive orders coming out on top of the hit that solar took, or I guess the move in solar there on the one big beautiful bill. That Meta AI story, though, is certainly going to be interesting. They keep poaching people. Now they have, I guess they poached the head of Apple's AI. We know Apple's AI is already struggling, so definitely a little bit questionable. I think that story is going to be definitely one to watch today.
Chinese auto sales as well in focus, guys, up month over month, despite the kind of the price war that's happening out there. So we'll get into that as well as many other stories. Neil, again, if you're just joining us on the week, is back from vacation. Good morning, boys.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, the other thing that's happening is Wolf is up for another 50%.
He's back.
46%.
Oh, Wolf, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know what's...
That stock is hungry.
It's very, very hungry, gobbling all the shorts up. This is like every now and then you're going to see this happen where a company talks about going concern issues, possible bankruptcy, and turnaround causes shorts scramble, and you get a bit of a relief high. So good for them, not so good, as you mentioned, Sharif and ADRA, for the solar names. They're all down severely is maybe a little bit overrated relative to the last little bit of a week, but they're all down heavily. Probably the weakest names that I'm looking at, and actually specifically at Sunrun, with an executive order just tightening up eligibility for solar and wind credits. So it's certainly going to weigh on them a little bit. But the good news is, I mean, the market is flat. Like, we got all those letters out, and the market's not down a bunch. Tesla's managed to rebound a percentage point. So some of the weakness that you had yesterday, it got abated to a certain extent. But as usual, there's not a lot of way of earnings. It's individual stock movers right now. So you look at the theme of solar names, you look at what's going on with Wolf, and when you're active, you want to be in the names that actually have a catalyst behind them, because there aren't any massive stories, and we're only going to be getting back into earnings when the banks start up.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing here about, different names that have been in play for just a couple minutes. But CoreWeave right now on that deal from yesterday getting downgraded a little bit. I want to look at maybe a short here finally. We'll wait. CoreWeave to a hold from buy from Stifle. Down a little bit, so we'll figure out what's going on here. But yeah, so far so good. Blue Jays get their 9th win again, beating the low-full Chicago White Sox,
which they should.
As I talked about, yeah, that should be, as we talked about, should be down. Hopefully they can win 12, 13 in a row. I wonder what the record is for us in a row. It seems like it would be a teens.
For us, I'm not sure. But I don't know if we've. It's probably in the low teens, if I had to guess, because the Oakland has the record.
Yeah, no, that's hopefully they can do something. But facing the White Sox is a good one. I mean, they're not the greatest, but yeah, welcome for another day here today. Yeah, like I was saying, I don't really think any of these letters are a thing until he sends it to a country that matters. No offense to former Burma, Myanmar, but I'm not sure that that's going to move the needle. And you can see today the Nasdaq now up 0.21 after being down 1%. I think yesterday might have been a buying opportunity, but we'll wait to see where that shoe drops on the UK. We talked about the Eurozone. We talked about Canada obviously being an issue as well, and then China, the bigger one, right, happening. So we'll wait to see that. Tesla fighting with 300 again right now this morning, bouncing around a bit, 297 and change. Datadog got downgraded. You heard that. The Chinese ADR is up 0.82 right now. Bank of America down 2%. JP Morgan. We were able to get something out of this. I'm still excited for what's coming in the next, I think it's next week, is it, for JP Morgan and all the banks? So we'll find out right there. Well, that's the news feed. I want to go into the details. We can get the exact day. Is it Friday? It always seems to be later on in the week for some reason.
I think it's usually the end of the
Thursday or
week.
Friday. 7 days. Tuesday. So there you go. So completely wrong there. Tuesday, July the 15th. We will have that. I'm off all next week.
There he is.
You are.
Yes. All next week.
Oh, I didn't.
You had me and Obi and myself last week, and then you'll have
even eat the
Neil
apple
and Obi all next week.
Apple a day. Apparently did not keep the shorts away yesterday
I
because
know, I tried, but
the shorts won for the most part. I mean, like stocks, there were certain stocks that went up. Like Circle was up like 10%, but for the most part, Apple today did not keep those shorts away, Randy.
I tried.
Yeah, that's okay. The shorts are fine. You need both of those things in the market. The solar stocks going short today down 4%. We were just talking about Tesla. That's hovering around $3 right now, up 1% today. So down a little bit there yesterday, obviously. And speak about, you just dropped off some apples here. We can check out Apple moving around a little bit as well. Flatter on the day after yesterday. Yeah, not a good move there yesterday to the downside. But yeah, we were just talking about the Jays winning now. Walmart? Why are we? Okay, let's check out Walmart.
It's random.
I don't know what it's doing today. Oh, you like this stock? I mean, Walmart's been a pretty good one. It's
a big seller at 100.
It's trying to break out. It just has to get through here. That's 100, and then we get up to 105. And then you're at all-time highs again. What a great opportunity that was to buy there. They missed on earnings. Then tariffs happened, and we got to the downside there for Walmart. But with inflation expectations still in check, I feel like Walmart would be fine. Until we
the
start.
The dollar can rally some of them.
Yeah, until we start losing some data points there. But the Nasdaq, I don't know, man. Might go red here. I'm not sure what we want to do. We do have Mitch coming from Trade the Pool, so we'll see what he's up to today and what he wants to talk about. He always talks about uranium plays and all that. The thing about it,
I think he'll mention quantum. Is my guess.
Well, the thing is that it's things are easy to talk about when they're on their way up, but the question is that when do we think the top is here? And that's the thing for uranium. Like, it's getting near some of these levels. So it's one thing to talk about it and say that we've made calls, from back here, which have been great. I mean, we all have, some kind of plays hopefully in our account for uranium. I'm wondering, like you mentioned about quantum, about uranium, where are some of these plays right now and what are we looking for moving forward? Because that's what the trade's all about, right? What's happened has happened. AMD was huge yesterday. We had some big trades right off the open. AMD, Apple, Tesla yesterday. Anyways, all right, that's it. I'm writing down CoreWeave on here, so I definitely want to be short CoreWeave.
They don't like that deal
today. But anyways, that 1.4%. CoreWeave's on my mind. Yeah, so Daniel asking about AMD, but yeah, so that's it from here. All right, let's go back over to the desk and see what they're up to. Joe's in the building.
All right, Joe. All right, let's talk a little Guggenheim downgrading Datadog today, who is apparently, or not apparently, is going to be finding its way into the S&P 500. Doesn't matter. Down 3% today. Guggenheim not really liking it, dropping it, or actually dropping it, to sell from neutral with a $105 price target. The downgrade here is based on OpenAI, which is Datadog's largest customer. They may reduce their usage, ADRA, shifting to their own internal tools, obviously, to save some money.
So I want to clarify, as far as I can tell, there's no confirmation that OpenAI is doing this, but Bloomberg reported that. And so, of course, I guess that leads Guggenheim to be a little bit concerned. They said that this could actually result in a revenue risk for H2 25. Though they also noted that it's not necessarily likely other customers are doing the same thing. So this is a very, very targeted downgrade, to put it lightly. That $105 price target, too, is distinctly lower than where we're trading right now, around 147. I was looking into it to see if there's any other analyst notes since the move to the S&P 500 was announced. Only one I'm seeing is a slight price target increase from BofA Securities yesterday. But guys, as of tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., Datadog will be part of the S&P 500 index.
So specifically, guys, what they're talking about here is replacing Datadog's log management solution with its own built-in, I'm talking about OpenAI, which is raising concerns about further depreciation in other companies who use Datadog doing the same thing, building it in-house. As Adair mentioned, no confirmation yet, but that big move up here, that was on the news that that Datadog was going to get added to the S&P 500, dropping down a little bit below 150, guys, 3%. What's the look?
I mean, what's interesting is maybe that headline kind of flips the old run up on the inclusion and then sell it after, because you've now had a couple of days in a row for Datadog to halfway fill in some of the gap that it's put in here. Like at the end of the day, there's certain times where you have like a stock that's going into the index where there's been like weeks and months and sometimes even longer than that of anticipation that it was going to happen. You could throw, I'd say, Palantir would be an example of that. It would certainly like a Tesla back in the day when it got into the S&P. But then there's other times where it's just sort of like bang, it happens. Like you can't point to anything that was super crazy going on in the stock that like somebody knew, which is kind of gliding up with the market. So I don't wonder if there's still some solid buying to be done with this inclusion because of the nature of how it went in. So I think this might present us an opportunity. The real problem you have is just how big the gap is if it loses $146 here. So like if it needs to hold that, and then just to get this out of the way, like at the end of the day today, it could be a completely different story if you happen to be looking at it or trading at the end of the day. We're expecting it could be tens of millions of shares, up to 50 million shares on an imbalance to buy. So I think whether or not it holds 146 and holds the gap when this announcement happened, regardless of this news, I'd love to see it confirmed by somebody other than just we get these random news sources. Regardless of whether it holds that gap, I'd still be looking for a long at the close. But yeah, it really needs to hold on to this gap. You usually want the selling to come after you go into the index and not already start heading back in.
I was just trying to read this note again. Yeah, so it's not really anything. It's just they could potentially lose OpenAI's business.
It's so speculative.
$150 million in revenue gap. Yeah, it doesn't really. So I would say this is just a buy.
I'm playing the inclusion.
I don't.
More than that.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's any reason to change course here on Datadog. I mean, the fact that you're all the way down here trying to break through that level that Neil was talking about. I mean, if it does that, I think you just let it flush and then find a bid because this is not a big deal. And, analysts are always looking for reasons to do things when, like, remember what I told you guys? Like, we've already talked about this, the market, how rigged this is. And this is another example of probably somebody just trying to get a little long, and posting something to get attention of us or, and just be able to dump some of this stock down. So down 3%. I mean, it obviously did not go well yesterday either, Datadog. So it's not, but yesterday everything was down. I mean, the market Nasdaq was down 1%, right? So there's the inclusion gap. I don't think a lot of people, I mean, Datadog was always on people's minds, but I don't think it was the number one, thought of name to get added to the S&P 500. So that little $20 bump up is probably a little fake. But, this pullback down yesterday makes sense because I feel like yesterday was a bad day in the market and it should respond to that. But then like where we are today, I feel like that downgrade is probably not going to last very long. So I would think if you're able to at all fill this gap, then these are buy areas. So I think you can even buy even at open. Let it settle down, let this thing get a little lower, and we'll see if we can buy Datadog off the open. So yeah, excited for that name. And then as Neil said, we don't see the imbalances here early on the Nasdaq. We only see an NYSE one. So we've got Wolf, and then that's about it for right now. Oscar Health I've been talking about for a while, getting long in around that $17 mark, which is where it's at. So I like that play. I think I'm going to put some into my account here on Oscar as well for a little bit of a swing trade. But yeah, so Datadog, good name. You like the catalyst. We've seen Coinbase, we've seen Uber, we've seen Palantir, a bunch of names recently, and they're all at all-time highs, right? I mean, Coinbase is a thing that's going to follow crypto, but you've seen, Palantir get to all-time highs after their inclusion, Nasdaq inclusion and whatnot, Coinbase to the upside as well. Uber got that inclusion. Uber's at all-time highs. So I think that the reason why they're getting included into the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, whatever exchange they're getting or whatever index they're getting included in is because they're working.
Exactly.
So it's like, that's why I feel so confident. That's what I was talking about. Like, I might just still continue to manage my own money because like the thing is like, if I just buy the S&P 500, like, why I don't need to pay somebody to manage it. But, I guess there's benefits to all of that. I don't know. I'm trying to get more money into the index.
I like both.
Because of this reason.
I think you can do both. I think what I love about the indexes, the most part is like, Broadcom's a really good example for me, at least. Like, here's a great company and a great stock that I've never owned, and I feel like I never will own because I have a big core position in both the indices, and they're a huge part of the Nasdaq. So when I was like dollar cost averaging that, it's like, oh, I'm kind of adding Broadcom to my portfolio. And you can do that too with if you look at like the financial ETFs, you don't own Berkshire, but you want some of that safety. You like what the finance, both like IYR, which I'm kind of preferring right now, a little bit to XLF. That's like 10, 11%. Berkshire Hathaway. Whoops, and then I go to type in. That's hilarious. I go to type in Berkshire and end up typing like XLF because that's the last words out of my mouth. But it doesn't. Berkshire takes a little bit of a hit. I think that's why XLF has been languishing is not the right word, but not breaking out when you have the rest of the bank. So it cuts in both ways. Where yes, you get this ability to have better exposure, but I still believe like you gotta pick individual stocks that you like. And sometimes you make a pick. And I'm going to stick with financials in a certain sense, and it's not the right one, but it doesn't mean it's all bad. Like we make the example of like SOFI and Robinhood. Like I'm up a bunch. Like SOFI, I have it like an average price under like $8. But if I bought Robinhood at the same time, instead of like 2x, it's like 4x, 4x. But at the end of the day, you want to have some stocks like this, and having the index allows you to be able to do that. Note, Robinhood, that 100 level looks so juicy. It doesn't seem like it's going to be today, though. So another day, and Robinhood 100 might have to wait. But those individual names are great. I just believe having a core position in the index allows you like the confidence or it's easier to have short plays in there because you're balanced in your portfolio. So when you put 5-10% into things that are a little bit higher growth and risk, you've got that base position to work off of, which I like. And I see a lot of you see a lot of names in the chat that at the end of the day, you would almost nobody would be invested in. Like there are short-term swing trades. There are swing trades which I would never. I don't like turning them into investments, but I know some people will do that. Like people like Wolf, and like my first words yesterday when Wolf was running like it was, well, 3 days ago they were talking bankruptcy. I'd be taking some profit if I just got 2-3x. And if you listen to me on that one, they're up another 50% today. But I still stand by that. I would never treat that in any other way. If I try to penny stock and I get a double up, I'm taking some off every single time, and then I'm letting the house money ride at that point. That would just be my approach. But like Wolf is a perfect example of, if you play it conservative, this thing could easily go to $5. I mean, I don't know, but it could also go bankrupt. And I think if you want to play those, you better have some safety somewhere in your portfolio in your account.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm similar to that, but it's like we do have a double up in Big Bear AI, and it's near that $8, and so I have been taking some off. I'm feeling I maybe need to take a little bit more off here of Big Bear AI at some point as well. But okay, it's 8:47. Let's go talk to Mitch.
All right, quickly, before we get to Mitch, Plus Therapeutics moving up here big in the pre-market to the tune of 50% into that 47 penny area. So they announced the treatment of its initial patients in the company's RESPECT-LM dose optimization trial for Ryobic for the treatment of, I'm not going to try to say this word here, but it's metastasis, okay? So good look here, up nicely in the pre-market. Any more information you can give us on this, ADRA?
I can give you guys some more information on the stock for sure. So it's about just under 17 million share float. PSTV is a name that's rallied in the past, so it is a repeat offender, as we like to call it, which means it does have the potential to get going, and there are likely some people looking at it. Also has just under 7% short float. So the float itself isn't huge, but it isn't tiny. It's under 20 million shares, but that 7% short float could be of note for sure.
Sounds good. Let's bring in Mitch if he is ready. There he is, Money Mitch.
What's going on, guys?
I love to see it, man. I
will say it was smart not to say that name right there. You stay away from those names. Those names will get you into trouble real quick. So
that's why I didn't go into science, Mitch. That's why we're in the finance side of things. I stay away from all those big words. I'm looking at the notes here.
Real quick.
Say it again.
The chat starts buzzing real quick.
Right away, right? I'll get roasted immediately. Not like I don't anyway. We're talking a lot of different themes here, Mitch. I'm looking at some of the themes that you have for today. We're talking a little retail here. You like Gap and Abercrombie. Give us a look there.
Yeah, so this is all based, and I kind of brought this a little bit last week, right, about Nike's report, right? Nike's report really made a shift in the consumer spending outlook. And this is very important because for a while there, we were all thinking for a little bit that consumer spending was coming down and that we were going to see, of course, these retail stocks also come down with the tariff mention. But there were certain stocks here that actually had good reports. And I think that's what you really need to look deep inside. Where are the ones that are actually having some kind of margin actual change there, and they can actually outperform because their margins are higher, right? Like an ANF, a Gap, Urban. Those are the reasons why you've seen those stocks hang on versus like an AEO that keeps coming down. Their margins are really getting crushed. So you got to look at the companies that are doing well here. I'd be focusing on Gap that has a huge gap, pun intended, to go higher. It's in a nice base. It just started to push out. You guys can clearly see that on the chart right there. So I think this could be a really great risk to reward opportunity here. And this is all about a flip of what you're thinking about in the fundamental outlook, right? So when environments quickly change, when you go from a bearish outlook to more of a bullish outlook because we're going to all-time high, and you're seeing rotation shift into what? The consumer cyclical area, you can actually gain some edge there because traders are caught offside there. They're probably caught short, and then now the stocks are starting to squeeze them out. So I think there's some great opportunities here in consumer spending. You guys have seen cruise lines take off. Now lodging has started to get hot. You're starting to see Hilton, Marriott go higher. And then now I'm starting to take a look at, does Airbnb follow? And maybe some of the smaller value plays in lodging, like, you know, like a Hyatt or a Wyndham. And so I'm looking at all these types of plays that are what? Rotation to the consumer cyclical area. What we're seeing right now is a healthy bull market that's trying to rotate into other areas to continue this bull run that we have. And what are we doing? We're just taking a sideways step in technology. It's not really a huge pull down, and that's giving the ability for money to go into the financial space, to go into the industrial space, the XLI that's all-time highs, and then you're also seeing that shift into the cyclical space, which was viewed as a real negative area because of tariffs. But it seems like the market just doesn't care, and a big part of that, well, now we're looking at August. We'll be looking at September. We'll be looking at 2026 talking about tariffs.
And crypto, well, Bitcoin specifically, Mitch, back into that higher end of the range, near 110,000, 109,000. Good look there. We had record inflows as well last week into some of these spot ETFs. But I was reading a little piece, Mitch, that ETH, at least for the spot ETF inflows, outperforming Bitcoin for the first time in a little while.
Yeah, people are trying to play a little bit of leader to laggard style trading with Bitcoin, right? So what you see is, of course, you see Bitcoin lead, and then people start looking at the other coins to start playing catch up. ETH has been one of those that has lagged and essentially hasn't broken that high to the left, and that gives it more of a opportunity for traders to come in here and try to think this is a value, right? It's very hard to say what is fair value for coins, but I would say that that's what they're viewing in ETH. I've been playing it also with ETHU, made a really great trade last week, and I've also been watching these crazy flyers. I know that you guys probably have seen them with BMNR, of course, Tom Lee mentioned, and then there's SBET, and now just yesterday, we also got BTBT, right, that made mentions. And what are these doing? They're stealing the MSTR strategy of, compiling a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and they're doing it different. They're doing it with ETH. And I think that you continue to watch these names because they are causing the momentum trade. These are high flyers, but if you just want to go for the coin, ETHU or ETH could be that way to kind of continue to play it. And also looking for finally a run in BITO. It just seems like it doesn't want to get going, but if we're really going to get this all-time highs continued to push, and now everyone's looking for a bigger run in crypto, BITO also has to make the move, and you can look at a bunch of different Bitcoin ETFs.
And we've got some crypto adjacent names like on the list that you have there. We got the PayPals, we got the Blocks, the XYZ,
exactly.
And they're benefiting.
Did you see SOFI, man? SOFI's hot. And the thing about SOFI, it has 3 different areas to push on, right? Well, we just got, of course, the big, beautiful bill that came in. And what is that going to do? Well, it's going to affect the school loans. And so when you're in graduate school, you only have a certain amount. If you're going to be a doctor, you only have a certain amount of federal loans that you can get. So where do you go? You go to the private market. And of course, that's helping SoFi. Another good mention a couple weeks ago, got back into crypto. And another thing that SoFi does also, talk about blockchain. When you have all three of the flavors of ice cream that everybody's looking for, well, guess what? Break out that sundae, because we want some SoFi.
Let's talk a little software and mobility to wrap things up. Mitch, I see Unity on there, Salesforce, and Uber, mixing them with, usually a couple of names you don't usually see mixed together.
Yeah, so right now it's all about, of course, the shift that's happening in AI. It's no longer large language model focused. You're going to see a shift focused to, of course, AI agents. That's going to help Salesforce get a lift, and that's what everyone's watching Salesforce here. I think Oracle is the major leader in this space, right? But you're also watching for catch-up here in the software space. Then there's other plays, right? There's now, of course, the metaverse type of play, like with Unity, right? Well, that's kind of your AI-powered dev tools, kind of continuing to push on there. We just saw a recent drive. This is also a momentum stock, Unity growth. So now I think we can watch for this to continue to run. And then, of course, Uber is continuing to get the lift as an AI software name. And as long as Elon keeps talking, he's hurting himself and helping Uber continue to push forward. I think Uber is a name that everyone says, well, when robo-taxis come out, why would Uber do well? It's exactly the reason why. They don't got to pay people anymore, guys.
Exactly.
People think that everyone's going to be able to establish these fleets quickly of robo-taxis. No, it's going to be an early entry type of play. It's going to be the players that have been doing this for a while, already understand the business, and can make it happen overnight, versus how others will struggle, and they'll start to create this app. They'll start to create kind of the way things work, but Uber's perfected this, right? I mean, when you're on your app and it tells you the car is 5 minutes away, is it 5 minutes away? Yeah, it's usually dead on.
Absolutely. Well said, Mitch. All right, money, Mitch.
And did you see the bonus area?
I did see the bonus area, and I happen to like it. We're just a little bit strapped on time, but let's go into it a little bit over here. So your idea here is the kind of the AI boom driving massive power demands. We know these AI data centers, all these GPUs have to be on the same wavelength. If there's a hiccup at all in the power, it screws everything up. So they're using these battery packs to kind of stable things out. Explain that a bit more, Mitch.
Just go look at Elon's tweets and what he's talking about. He's focusing on battery storage for data centers, and it's very important because the truth is that if we are going to have this AI boom, we're going to need to kind of continue to power these data centers. And one of the quick ways to do that is with battery storage because they can't rely on the grid, right? So look for those plays to continue. I'll give you three quick names: FLNC, Fluence Energy, pure play in strong growth projections. It's a crazy outlook. Earnings per share expected to grow 500%. You got STEM and BE Bloom Energy. So there it is, guys. You can look deeper into the themes. I'm always trying to give you guys themes early so that by the time you see it on CNBC, you guys know Money Mitch gave it to you first.
I absolutely love how you ended that. Money Mitch Hoke, analyst at Trade the Pool. Thanks for being on, Mitch.
Check us out, guys. Go and swing trading now. Let's make some money.
Swing alert, right?
Let's go.
Joseph loves it when you do that, by the way. He's been taking that from on the midday note. Swing alert. There you go.
Swing it, swing it, swing it.
Thanks for being on, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch. Swinging it. And at FLNC, I know anybody that's been swinging that thing has definitely been having a little bit of fun. I actually like the daily. I like the daily chart on that one. No questions asked. I do want to get back to Airbnb because when I was looking at its inclusion to S&P 500, I noticed something which is pertinent to Datadog, I think. But like that particular name, when we talk about, one of the things you'll hear a lot is gaps get filled. Well, where is it? It's giving you a hold right above this February high gap. And I mean, it's easy enough to say room to $9 from a technical standpoint as like a trade, but I think that's what you're getting. And just keep in mind, a lot of these names, like they've run up a lot. And sometimes you need healthy pullbacks and consolidations when you have things that have doubled and tripled up. But as we're going through all of those names, I actually was a little surprised at how little Airbnb was doing. To be honest, I thought it might have been performing a little bit better than this. But at the same time, it was back when Like I was looking at the inclusion. When Mitch brought it up, I was looking at when they got included S&P 500. So it's like you figure out it's going to happen, volume spike, gap up, and then it was on the 18th. So like right in here is the moment that they got added. So it was rallying into a pullback, but then you had the gap up. It lost the gap and took a few days to settle in. So I think that's what like with Datadog, if it loses the gap, I think you might have to be patient with it. I still would believe that that's a bigger force than some random note from, I think it was Bloomberg, I think we got on Datadog. But if they do lose that gap, I think you have to play a little bit of patience. And then remember, market circumstances are different then than it would be now, so you do have that factoring in. But yeah, I think you're patient buying the dip. I'll probably be trying to go long at the close regardless on this stock, but yeah, when I look at what happened to Airbnb and you go through some of the others, it isn't abnormal that after you get the inclusion, you can have a little bit of a drop, and then the rally comes, a bit of a sell the news type of event.
Yeah, I liked what he was talking about there, and you didn't hear this one first from Money Mitch, but SOFI right here up over $20 right now and continuously busting through. So I like that Mitch brought up some of the levers that they can pull there, the big beautiful bill, the student loans and everything. I mean, look at SOFI up to $20. We did sell some at 18, but there it goes, man. $20. This one really working out, and yeah, making us forget about Robinhood. Really, I mean, it's been a huge move for SOFI over the last month and a half. I mean, you're going from 12 to 20. So right there, you want to talk about BBAI being a double. This is a double right here too. Even just in the last, let's say 3 or 4 months. Well, I guess looks like $12 was the bottom. So you're not quite at a double, but you'll take this all day. So look for SOFI, continuous momentum higher. We looked at it yesterday, short flow 12, 13% or so. SOFI continues to work long, and any dip buy opportunities for this name into 1940. The sticky note's out. I'm just fixing some notes, but I'm a little bit like offside today. I don't know exactly which direction we want to go. I mean, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and then it's up, and it's up, and it's up. So I don't know. We have now 5, 6 straight handles straight to the upside. We're just going to wait. I mean, I think there could be some more notes and news about some of these tariff plays happening here today, especially if we get more notices on, this is your... I mean, we're going to go back and forth about this whole tariff talk, and it's just a complete joke that we're sending out notes and letters on this is what your rate is, picking those out of a hat, and then also saying that they're also not going to take effect until August 1st. And then even then, that's the third iteration of a deadline. So it's
what deadline? Well, it's
at some point, I don't even know if these tariff things matter. I'm just excited for earnings season.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't even really care about
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just think the market cares about that. Like you'll have the little 1% moves intraday, which will affect us as day traders. But in the long run here, I'm looking to pick up, the indexes on.
Well, when you're heavy tech, like if you're how concerned are you if you own you can be concerned maybe with your Amazons and your Apples to a certain extent.
And it was scary back in April.
It certainly was. But I get it if you own Starbucks. I get it if you own Nike. There's certain things out there that you're going to be really weighing on a lot of this, because if 20% of your portfolio is one of my 5 big stocks is Nike, which is not true for me, I don't even own it, then yeah, you're going to care a little bit more. But earnings season, I'm excited for earnings to come, and especially the banks, because they've been rallying so far. What I can't believe is I'm actually surprised SOFI already broke that $20. And so remember we were talking about the financials being strong and then the solar names being weak. Sunrun was down 6%.
Yeah.
It's now down 10.5%, and I haven't even looked at the other ones, FSLR or.
I think what happens in this market is when you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah, when the money wants to come out, the sell keys, and it's not so much the sell keys getting hit as the other half is there's just no bid for the stocks that have not been in favor. And so, yeah, I think that looks like solar today, and it's by the stroke of a pen, an executive order, right? All it takes is an executive order. They live and die by the tax credits. You make it harder for them. Everyone's all happy when the big, beautiful bill was favoring them, and now you get an executive order which is hurting them, and you give up, not all the gains from recently, but First Solar gives back from the highs now about, what is that, 15% or something like that? 12% from local highs. Still a good rally, but Sunrun's going to be on my mind for sure. It's just a matter of like how far do you chase this thing when it's down 10% already. But this is why you got to pay attention to catalyst, right? So we'll be looking at Sunrun particularly because that one's moving the most. And a lot of times it's like the crappiest one. I shouldn't say the crappiest one, but like the highest risk in the sector is going to be the one that you want to actively trade just because it's going to move more. When they're bad, Sunrun's going to lose 10, 15%. When First Solar and others might only lose half that. And that's why you got to gravitate to those ones when you trade.
All right, guys, let's have a look at the futures. 62.76 is where we closed out yesterday on the ES September contract. We're kind of locked in a 50-point range, boys. About 62.54, that's the overnight low, with 62.89 being the overnight high. So we're going to say 6,300 as resistance, 62.50 as support. We've lost that 6,300 level after the tariff news yesterday. All right, guys, make sure to get the watch list sent directly to you every day. ADRA prepares it, and we all use it. Helps you know what the major stories are, what's important, what's not, and how to organize your day. And best of all, it comes straight in your inbox. So make sure you're hitting that link in the description and subscribing. All right, let's start with the first story here. Trump with more tariff news. 14 countries are going to be subjected to tariffs effective August 1st, delaying obviously the June 10th deadline. The tariffs range ADRA from about 25 to 40%, with Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Tunisia, Kazakhstan all at 25%, but Laos and Myanmar, formerly Burma, at 40% there, ADRA.
Well, and it's kind of similar to what we had here with the transshipping tariffs, specifically for Vietnam. Now, of course, transshipping tariffs aren't specified with these countries the way they were with Vietnam, and that's likely because they actually made a deal with Vietnam instead of these letters getting sent. But I just want to show here, this is actually the April 2nd versus July 7th tariffs for the first 7 countries that we got. I'm going to make a new infographic for the next 7 coming through. But yeah, as you can see here, like some of these, Japan, it's actually a little bit higher, the new tariff. Malaysia's a little bit higher. Laos and Myanmar all got cut. But as we mentioned, transshipping tariffs are not specified in terms of a rate or percentage in this letter, which means that if they're really trying to deter some of these countries from sending things to China, then that tariff will likely be higher than the tariff stated in these letters.
Just tell us what transshipping is.
Transshipping is basically you between an intermediary port. So you get like from between point A and point B, there's another port, and they will ship things to somewhere else. They're basically rerouting packages, if you will, and that, again, with concerns about China and China getting things, that could really be a concern if you look at these places in that region that are getting higher tariffs.
All right, boys, the Mag 7, all green. Let's look.
Well, it's not just the Mag 7 that's green. You'll note that, you got a lot of letters got sent out, but there was nothing to China. It's almost like no news is good news. And at least that's the way that the market seems to be approaching it. Like if you look at specifically Alibaba in here is up a couple of points, but if you look at across the board, a lot of the Chinese names are gapping up, and this can easily change, unfortunately, because you're going to be headline driven. That said, like there's some value in here because everyone's like, oh, China risk, blah blah blah, like this and that, but Alibaba is cheap on a P basis. We've seen it rally from this area before pretty heavily. I keep thinking every time I think it's going to fall apart and get back lower down into the 80s for a rebuy, it just seems to bounce before that, and it bounced off 100 the last time, defying expectations myself. And I kind of feel like if it does that again, then you missed an opportunity. It could close the 200 period, which I think is on the long term, that's a good place to look for a buy. Now, as far as today goes, it's over under at 109 for me. Like you go back to last week and had big seller at 109 on a gap down, and then you gap down yesterday, and then continued selling all day long. If you can't burst through that selling at 109, then unfortunately the buyers haven't taken control on what is not necessarily a positive headline. It's just simply the lack of there being anything negative in the last round of updates. But who knows? Middle of the day today, you could have something get negatively said about China, some harsh comments, truth could come out, and all of a sudden Bob is going to move on that. So I think you still have to be in a bit of wait and see mode, but I'm looking for that 100 level to hold on Alibaba. I think they're good value down there.
Okay. I just posted this. Thanks to my wife for finding this. So this is Ric Flair here. You'll never be as cool as Ric Flair wearing a Rolex and an Apple Watch at the same time. So right there. So what's up now? Kevin O'Leary, right there. So we'll tag him and see if we can get him going on that. I'm gonna get that up on Insta. Tag him, and then we can see what's going on there. Okay, so for me, the sticky note is now out, which is sort of what got me looking there on Twitter again. And yeah, for me, the big tech names are just going to be basically Tesla. I mean, I don't even know if we're going to be talking about Tesla on here soon, but the TQs. I mean, I wrote down here shorting right now on the Nasdaq, the TQ area of 85. I don't know if that's going to come into play or not. I'm uncertain of what the market wants to do. If the market rips up here, yesterday we were very, very patient. We actually wound up losing, if you remember, on the TQQs as we shorted this move all the way back up. And then finally, we caught it at the 200 period moving average by waiting and being patient for that. Well, 85 is just right here. So, you know, we made that top up here at 85.50 last Thursday. And then we kind of didn't obviously do anything there in the aftermarket. And then we've just dropped down through there. Let's get strong today if this market wants to break through 84. And then we'll look to start to short somewhere around here. I just don't think that this tariff talk is over, obviously. It's just starting. And I don't see it as being very positive. I mean, we talk about the art of the deal. I don't hate what Trump is doing. I think the letters and going out and delaying the times and pushing it forward and looking to make deals is what needs to happen. So if we do get a positive announcement, I just want to make sure that we short somewhere around here because, again, until earnings seasons comes, I just think there's so much uncertainty about everything. And we just need to wait until we get that deal. Like I said, you make an announcement on China, this market's up 4%. You know, so it's just a matter of waiting for those deals to happen and then going. So until then, I'll fade whatever happens on the Nasdaq. So 85 is just a rough level because I have no idea where this is going to stop. I mean, we started this day at 83. We almost got to 83.75 there in the last 20 minutes. So we can easily go another $1 where we'll start to short. So for me, it's a short around there. And then I was looking, honestly, I think Google's like a breakout candidate. It's just, again, like I don't think much happens until we get earnings. And this is that break sort of right into here, 180, 182. We're going to have to get China. We're going to have to get something that matters as far as the tariffs are concerned. And when we do, then I think Google runs and rips and gets right back up to all-time highs. We're not even that far away anymore from this. You add 10% to Google, you're back at all-time highs. So that is just a couple days away. I mean, can we envision a day where Google's up 7 or 8% on a China deal? Yes. Or every Mag 7 stock is up 5, 6, 7, 8%. And then that puts us through the stratosphere. And then we're all wondering why our money is still on the sidelines. So I think you, for now, you just wait. And when you get the news, you go in. But until then, sticky note will lead the way.
All right, let's talk a little Apple and Meta. Interesting headline today. Zuckerberg continuing on his hiring spree, hiring now Ruomeng Pang. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. He's a key AI researcher from Apple. He's going to join the super intelligence lab started in Meta by Zuckerberg, part of that major recruitment push that we've been seeing him doing. So Pang actually led Apple's foundation model team and is reportedly receiving a pay package, guys, in the tens of millions of dollars. But it's not the biggest headline. We've heard about triple-digit headlines with hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, we've heard about hundreds of millions. We've also had some people, I think the OpenAI researchers that first left, they actually denied these pay packages, but there's enough evidence to suggest that at least to some extent they are real. But here's what's really interesting, Sharif. So I find it interesting that Meta, who's been trying to go after these like cream of the crop, creme de la creme AI people, is going after Apple's AI team because we know they haven't had that much success. I have to find this decision a little interesting. What's interesting as well is apparently, according to this report, Zifeng Chen will be taking over the responsibilities of Pang at Apple. I looked him up and he really, I'm only seeing a Google brain, I guess, background, so I'm wondering if he's internal from Apple. I want to do more research on it, but this report actually gives me more questions than answers.
Well, Pang actually is from Google originally.
So that would make sense. His replacement would be there as well.
Yeah, so yeah. I don't know. The way I see this, Adara, is I feel like it highlights the internal friction inside of Apple's AI team, and I don't think things obviously going that well. Maybe he's looking for a way out, boys. What is the look?
Yeah, well, it could be, but the market's been telling you what to do with these two stocks for a while, with regards to Meta and to Apple, and that is there's exuberance around Meta taking what is the phenomenon of AI and immediately being able to actually make money here in multiple ways. Like whether it's through efficient advertising, whether it's through directly integrating Llama into WhatsApp and then monetizing that further. Like there's a lot of levers that are going to get pulled for them, and the implication, of course, on Apple's side, they just haven't been able to execute. So, you know, without getting into okay, how effective is this going to work out? The one thing I'm concerned with when we talk about Meta in particular is that the rally that we've been on is very impressive, no questions. Like this is like the stock has gone up 55, 60% or something like that. I mean, I could use that tool and draw it for you, but when you go from 460 something into 740, you got a bunch of things that are in that oversold or overbought territory, including the market. So I think you're in a sideways action. Like, and I know like yesterday wasn't feeling like particularly bullish. Like I don't have a market bias whatsoever. Like I'm looking at individual names and playing each by the ear, because look at the wash that the stock has been in since it failed the high. No clear direction. Yeah, and when you've got this support to resistance, I think it's clear you've got some clear support down here in the 713 area, and when you're in a bit of a sideways consolidation chop because the rally's taking a break, then you're not thinking the stock's going to break out and rally to an all-time high. You go into the mode of, okay, well, you're approaching it as the dip buy off a support level, and that's what I think Meta's kind of caught in right now. And this, I don't think this headline, is that what gets it to an all-time high today? I don't really think so. I'd be more inclined to be playing that dip off the bids in a scenario where I think we're taking a little bit of a breath on the rally.
Yeah, I wanted to, I mean, I think Meta, again, just an expensive stock there, and one that we should all be long hundreds and hundreds of dollars ago, right? And if you're not, I don't know if I'd buy it up here until we do get some kind of earnings. But for right now, you know, NVIDIA, if you're going to play something that has some sort of momentum, yesterday NVIDIA really didn't do anything, despite the market, you know, getting, I don't want to say crushed, but getting to the downside. We saw a good short early on AMD, and NVIDIA was trying to push higher, but the market just wasn't willing to go. And now today, you know, with the market being up, what, not 0.5%, is it yet? Yeah, so 1/4% right now. NVIDIA almost up 1 and looking to take down 160 again. I think this is a huge long, and I think it's a push long through 160. So if there's going to be a name, yesterday we were all over the shorts as far as AMD is concerned. We had a pretty strong dollar hopefully this morning as well. And it looks like we do want to take down that 160 level. Again, this is what NVIDIA looks like, man. I mean, all hail, honestly. This is the king of all kings, and it's just going to continue to rise, I feel like. We did get a breakthrough the other day through that 160 mark, which was right there, and it stopped at 161 and brutally came back in into 158. I say that kind of sarcastically. The most it went down was $1, actually $1.50 off of that level. That's not that big. So I'm not worried about this name. I think a break of 160 gets us to where it wants to go. Yesterday wasn't doing much. Today I feel like it does something. So we have a thing for that. I think
do something.
Waymo here. So Waymo, Alphabet's obviously autonomous driving division, announced it will begin testing vehicles in Philadelphia with a human safety driver behind the wheel. The pilot program is going to run through the fall, and it's going to include manual driving in high-density areas like downtown, on freeways, collecting map and performance data. This is not the first time they're out east, ADRA, as they have similar tests out in New York.
Yeah, they're trying to get into New York, so it's interesting. This headline from TechCrunch is pretty fascinating because the way that Waymo announced it themselves, they only mentioned Philadelphia. But as of last month, they have applied for a permit to test their autonomous vehicles in New York City with the human behind the wheel. As far as of yesterday, they had not received any approval, but they have done some tests in New York in the past, going back about 4 years, and then in the winter they tested in Buffalo. So they're certainly not new to out east. We also do have a spokesperson from Waymo saying the company is going to be testing these vehicles at all hours throughout, basically, as you mentioned, all areas of Philadelphia. So if you're in Philly, the likelihood of you seeing a Waymo is really high. This was initially, as I mentioned to Sharif, the way that Waymo disseminates its information is always a little weird. You'll get the company announcing it on X first, and then TechCrunch will report it after the fact. But they announced this around 12 p.m. during the midday. Uber actually dropped when it was first announced, but it obviously recovered.
All right, guys, Waymo now available Phoenix, San Francisco, LA, and Austin. Atlanta and Miami and DC are planned for next year. The launch is planned for next year. And they're still losing money, though, on this division. So even though revenues did increase in the last earnings report to $1.65 billion, up from $1.53, the segment still is losing a little bit less than $4.5 billion, guys.
You got to lose before you make. And like, it's not like there's a million ways to play this, right? Like you're playing it with Alphabet as a smaller portion of their business. You're playing it with Tesla as a large portion of it. And you're playing it with Uber as a significant impact for them as well in the space. But the thing is with Google, you get a little bit of everything, right? Like your exposure. And I'm not gonna the laundry list of things that you get, whether it's just talking about YouTube taking over the world and Shorts being even more impressive than I actually realized in terms of their growth and the viewerships. Look, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like I was a little bit wrong about Google in that, you know, I like Meta more than Alphabet, but rotating some shares from Google to Meta, it's like I should have sold. Like it was right in that Meta ran to the high and Google didn't, but it was wrong in that Google wasn't as weak as something like, say, Apple. So it's in a bullish run, and I'm just going to quickly show you the most simple thing that Google is doing right now. This is the channel from the low, and it's not very often that you will see something this clear on a daily chart where it's the easiest trend lines to draw the top and the bottom. And so I think for now, it's buy it at the bottom of the trend line. I'm taking the open from the April 7th low. You just start connecting as many points as you can loosely. And notice that obviously on a chart like this, like it can bounce $1 or $2 away from that level. But down around 170, I think Alphabet is a buy until proven otherwise. And the top end of that channel, which now works out to about 190, is your temp top. So I'm not thinking all-time highs for Google. I'm just thinking this channel until it proves otherwise. The problem would be if you lose the bottom of the channel on Alphabet. That's not going to happen today, but when looking at this stock, that's where my focus is. I think people got a little too pessimistic about Alphabet and forgot just how many places they have that they can pull levers to make money. Waymo just being enough.
Yeah, for sure. I think Google, look, I mean, I sold Google and bought some Eli Lilly, but Google right now, I've sold it way too low at 160 and change. But for right now, Google, I think it works. And I was just talking about this the other day, or just the other day, a couple minutes ago, thinking that Google does have that chance to break through that 180 mark, right? And when it does, then I think you get right back to where you need to go, up to all-time highs again. So yeah, Waymo's nice. It's such a small part of their business, so it's not a needle mover at all for them. So again, we wait for earnings. We wait to see how their search game has been playing out. I don't think it's been very well. I mean, ChatGPT, I think, is the 5th most went to site right now in the space. I saw some, I mean, Google's still up there as well, but ChatGPT now up there as well. And then there's so many other large language models like Gemini, which is Google. And you know, that news that they missed out on Apple is not great either. If Apple is indeed going to go with a Perplexity or Anthropic or I don't know, even ChatGPT. I'm not sure where they're going to go with OpenAI or whatever. But if it's not going to be Gemini, then that is going to hurt Google. And then Google also gets a $20 billion check from Apple every year for the install base of Chrome. I don't know if that changes. So I don't love the stock, but again, there are a lot of levers, and it's a very popular one. If you like quantum, I think Google's there. You like self-driving, Google's here. And yeah, everything, just their search business. YouTube is absolutely a monster right now. YouTube, we heard yesterday, I don't know if it's true, but YouTube gets 10 times more views. The YouTube Shorts gets 10 times more views than TikTok. So, I mean, it is what it is. YouTube Shorts are huge, and Google will continue to win. It's just, I want to see the earnings. So I'm not super excited until we get near that 180.
IBM next on the list here, guys, floating basically at all-time highs, maybe a buck or two off. They unveiled their new Power 11 chips and servers today. The first time they're updating their Power products since 2020. They're aimed at boosting energy efficiency and AI integration in the enterprise center, so B2B here, positioning IBM as one of the biggest AI infrastructure for business operations. It's going to work in sectors like financial services, healthcare, manufacturing. and it's going to basically compete with Intel and AMD, not really looking to compete with NVIDIA here, as they're going to be focusing on inferencing ADRA as opposed to training.
I mean, yeah, and this IBM, I was going to give more detail, I guess, on what this Power 11 does in terms of its technological savvy. So apparently it's the most resilient server in their whole IBM Power platform, which of course is well known. They're saying it's 99.9999% of uptime, and I am reading that directly. Apparently there's going to be zero planned downtime for system maintenance and less than 1 minute guaranteed ransomware threat detection. So like this seems pretty sturdy. Seems like, especially as you said, with what's trying to do and what it's trying to compete with, it seems like a pretty solid product. Let's see how it performs.
All right, guys, near all-time highs. What's the look?
I love it.
Yeah, love the stock. Was one of the picks for the year. I think that story, when you look at it, it's similar to what I felt about when Samsung had bad numbers overnight. Is they talked about getting beaten up by NVIDIA, and they talked about getting beaten up. Well, I didn't say getting beaten up, but the competition that they're losing to, NVIDIA, TSMC, and the fabs, and then Micron. For sure, I think it was more of a positive for them. I think in this particular case, it's just like another reason you can go dig at Intel. But IBM is a trade. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to have the action to be able to bust out. And we're in this same, like, you're holding at the top. It's been such a fantastic rally. There hasn't been a deep pullback since it made the high. Like, it's like you either, you know what, or get off the pot, or we're going to have some kind of a healthy pullback in IBM. I absolutely love where they're going. I think long-term, you're fine holding it. They're also going to be, if you like quantum, they give you a little bit of access to that too, like kind of like Google does, in a more in a safer way. So when that code gets cracked, you've got somebody that's been working on it for years. So I still love the stock. I just don't know how eager I'd be to be pulling the trigger way up at these tops. Like that's the only thing that gets me. And just to throw it in, we only have 4 minutes to go here.
Okay.
I was going to point out with that, when I was talking about Samsung's poor numbers, one of the things that specifically got mentioned, up 2%, and one of the strongest chip names out there is Micron. And I do like I like Micron. I don't know if we're going to be able to get the bid off the 119 here as a support level. It might just turn into something like joining the long at some point. But I absolutely love the fact that specifically singled as someone taking some business away from Samsung with their numbers, and up 2 points today, leading the market, ahead of the market. I like the strength in MU. Like I said, I don't know if we get the 119, but when in doubt, pull back into prior high is how I usually do.
Yeah, Micron's fallen off to their earnings report, right? Yeah, not bad. Yeah, 120 is definitely a good level there. I've added BBAI here to the sticky note, breaking that $8 mark. So I think if we can break above that, you can go find it right now at Trader TV, Sean. That order's already in. This is probably the one that fires off early. Big Bear AI breaking through $8. We had broken it before and didn't do much. We got it. So, well, we had this trade too, going through up to 830. It was actually pretty profitable, but then we got stopped out once it broke. So if the same thing happens, we're going to wait for the 200 period or the 50 period moving average. But we're going ham on BBAI breaking through $8. Solar burn, Sharif?
For solar today, well, at least the 10 ETF down here 2 3/4% after the executive order signed by Donald Trump looking to end some of these solar subsidies at ADRA.
And if you look here, and I actually have it up, this executive order is posted, of course, on the White House website or homepage. It's very clear that their issue is about foreign control. So that this really, they want to keep things in-house. They want to keep things domestic. Basically, there's going to be tightening some eligibility for solar and wind tax credits. Apparently, according to this order, substantial construction progress is required before these projects can actually lock in incentives in this space. And of course, this does follow the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which has a lot of solar provisions. We saw solar stocks up, down, and all around as we had that digested for sure.
All right, guys, how are you going to play this solar name if you're interested? Which names are you looking at?
Yeah, well, because like I was saying earlier, First Solar is only down 5%, and Sunrun is down almost double digits. It did bounce a little tiny bit, so it's down 9%. It was down 10% earlier. I'm just trying to keep it simple. This one's going to move the most. It's not because it's the cheapest. Thank you, Randy. Randy just said short it. Yeah, that's the idea. 1040 is the level I'm looking at here into the quarters. Thank you so much for the refill on the coffee, because we got 1 minute to go, and we're locked and loaded. No, just very simply, it was a flat bottom break through prior support. So as long as it holds underneath, I said 40, I mean 30, sorry. This is 30. 1030 is the level. So as long as it holds underneath that, I'm looking short. If it breaks it at the open, I sit and wait for a chance at 11, or I allow it to get back under the volume weighted average price. It already made a 4 or 5% move under this level and almost did it twice. So I don't want to be just sort of blindly taking that trade at the open. Sometimes you get these exhaustion candles early and it can bounce. So if it does one of those to the upside, I want to wait for it to resist and then short the stock. But I'm only looking to the south side today on the solar names, specifically Sunrun though.
All right, only 20 seconds left now, 15 seconds. We've got Randy, a treat today on the bell. It'll be Randy on the bell, so we're excited for that one. BBI could come in, CoreWeave could also come in. This bell brought to you by Randy and Trader TV Live or Origenics. I mean, you can scan that QR code at any time and get that. Randy, it's 3, it's 2, it's 1. All right, we are, yes.
Randy doesn't play around.
We are now short. First position is now initiated. It's CoreWeave. So we are now short CoreWeave, 160, waiting to see what happens around 162. Give me more, give me more, give me more. We are now also in Big Bear AI right now as BBAI takes out that level. We said we'd be long. Here we are long at 803. Let's see how far up Big Bear AI can go or not. We'll get some out here if it gets into the 20s one more time again, and we'll get something out here high side. It's not even open yet, so Big Bear AI right now waiting for the opening print to come through, and here it comes right now I'm hoping for, and we'll be able to get something out, and there it is, a quick little winner chicken dinner to start the day. Neil, we're already $1 in the money on CoreWeave, so here it comes to the downside. So, I mean, it's easy pickings right now. CoreWeave and BBAI, the sticky note 2 for 2 so far.
Yeah, good look over there. SOFI, by the way, we didn't talk about SOFI. We mentioned it several times as being supremely strong. It already broke $20.
Look at Big Bear.
Like 2 or 3 times, but it has yet to hold above the open. I'm waiting for a pullback into either the pre-market low or let's see the buyers. Now the buyers starting to merge over 20. We close above 20 and I want the long. But otherwise, I'm waiting down around that 19.5 zone for the long. I did get into Sunrun to the short side off of that 1030, but I noticed the position board does not seem to be working.
Oh, man. Well, poor Andre's all by himself here, so, yeah.
They're working on it.
Yeah, well, they're not working on it. That's the problem, is that he's by himself, so, so frustrating. Okay, well, anyways, there goes Big Bear AI right now. Just put it up, man. There's nothing else to do. We're done. We're done. It's 8:31. We're done right there. Plus, we got a dollar rate right over here as well. I'll still be here for you. Don't worry. But yeah, Joe's like, see you tomorrow. Yeah, no, next week, though, you'll be getting these plus many other trades because, holy shit, let's go right now. Like, yeah, next week I'll be on vacation, so I won't be able to have as much fun as this, of course. We'll be in Boston all week, and you guys will be trading Big Bear AI through 850 by your damn selves right now. But there it goes, man. Huge move up there for Big Bear AI. We're pretty happy with what's been happening. It's a monster move for us here. I'm triple already what we were up yesterday. A Big Bear AI is just the absolute banger right there. We posted it. It's up. And there it goes. It's Big Bear AI. Not only that, Neil, we have a monster trade here in Big Bear AI, but we're also $3 in the money on CoreWeave.
That's 2 for 2 over there. It's 2 for 2 over here. It is what it is. I know the position board is not working. SOFI broke the 20. It just went to 20.5. So that's a quick 2 points on SOFI. Nice. As quick as you like, as Sharif would say. And then Sunrun, VWAP to the low as well. So essentially, just the only 2 names I was looking at. We didn't get to Tesla. I'll get there in a quick little second. Sunrun is SSR, so when I see it's short sell restricted because it's 10% down. So if it does like an over-under at an obvious level, like breaks a level and immediately retakes it, my thought is out and play back into VWAP, but I'm not looking long. So let's take it out when it does a curl and look for a re-entry at the volume-weighted average price. So SOFI, there's a part of me that thinks SOFI, with their earnings coming out at the end of next month, is going to be, at some point, a really, really big pullback. But for now, we're going to go back in, hopefully VWAP, or we get 20s or 19.5. But a breakout trade, I regretted not getting all out of circle the first time yesterday by holding on to some. This time it's like, no, it gives you the target, it gives you 20 to 20 and a half. I'm like, take it and then look for the next opportunity. And what we didn't talk about was day 2 on Tesla, and Tesla broke $300. That's the good news. The bad news is Tesla immediately failed $300 and is starting to come right back in. So they like selling off on Tesla, but the buyers tried to get it over 300. 2 days in a row, Tesla's tried to rally in here at the open. Didn't really hold out last time. I'm waiting to short this. I still like 305, 306. I want to give it a chance to get there.
Yeah, good talk there. Right now, CoreWeave is looks like this on the chart. There's 160, there's 156.50. We're just going to say boom. We'll tweet that out, and we'll watch to see what's going on here. Unfortunately, again, no position board. We apologize. I'm short CoreWeave and long Big Bear AI. What's up, ADRA?
Keep an eye here on SQNS. This is Saquon's Communications small cap runner. This one having a pretty traditional small cap capitalist as of late, announcing a Bitcoin Treasury initiative for which apparently they just closed a $384 million strategic investment. Keep an eye on SQNS. I want to let you guys know as well, there's no economic data coming out this morning except for an 11 a.m. consumer inflation number from New York. Back to you.
All right, thanks, ADRA. Yeah, there it is.
There's
okay,
a three-year note auction at 1 o'clock, which we pay attention to.
So the only thing is those positions are wrong. So I don't know if we have to reset that or something right there, because your boy ain't short Big Bear AI. That is
it's just taking the last execution.
Yeah. Maybe see if I can punch out and see if we get something. If it updates it there, I'll punch some more out at 57s. Oh well, now at least now it shows the price. Which is right, but that CoreWeave is wrong. Yeah, we'll need to reset that. Apparently, Fabian is close. Maybe a rough night there in the Chilean household. Maybe a rough sleep, but he's coming in. He's going to be pretty close right now. But yeah, man, it's big. This is just it's a big day. Here we go. We're going to see what happens with CoreWeave if we can even get this short through 156 again. We're short at 160. You know, we wrote that one down. We wrote down the Big Bear AI trade as well. So we're going to go like real big here, you know, this morning so far. But again, the show's not really about trading. It's more about discussing, you know, what's been happening and what's going on in the market. So yeah, the Nasdaq is making a move down lower here. We're only down right now. Well, we're up 0.25, but you know, it is a nice downside play. We did write that down as we worry about potential tariffs today, and you know what's going on with that. We don't have any earnings or anything. There goes CoreWeave right now. We did short more through 156. So now our price on CoreWeave is about 156. Yeah, so there we go. The prices are right. It just doesn't show long or short. So that will come up very, very soon. But Neil, here goes CoreWeave again. This is the price that we had marked down and the price that we wanted to trade through. So right now we are going to wait. There it goes. Yes, sir. Holy. This could be one of the biggest days here. So let's just figure out what's going on. Thank you so much, Adam DeLuz and company, for your continued support, of course, here for all of us at Trader TV Live, regardless of you know of how everyone's day is going. It feels like you guys are always supporting us, no matter what. So thank you, Adam, and thank you everybody else for all of that. It does mean a lot. So. All right, so that's what's going on right now. We did punch through. We had to get 155.75, I think was the price that we got. Yeah, we got 76s, so we get 25 cents worth of slippage there on CoreWeave, but that kind of makes sense. I mean, the spread is 25 cents as it is, so I feel pretty good about the fill that we got down there. Again, we just tried to add to the position. That may be the bottom. I mean, sometimes when you pick breakout trades, you sort of have to wait for that break and fake, but right now, okay, Mark's here now, so that's good. We can try to get that position board going. But right now, CoreWeave, BBAI, the two stocks for me, and we'll just wait to see where CoreWeave goes. It is getting that little relief rally back up. So, you know, maybe a short back into VWAP. We'll see if we can.
The market just bounced off the low, I think.
Yeah, that's the other thing, I guess.
And look, we're going to get to SOFI in a quick little second, but the overall market just broke overnight lows and then regained it. So you're getting a little bit of a pushback to the upside. When that happens, it's just like overnight lows and highs tend to matter in that regard. I'll get to, like I said, I'm going to get to SOFI in a second, but I did just miss the curl back in. When Sunrun bounced, it did get to the volume weighted average price, and I still want to stay net short looking at these solar names. But if I've missed this move, that is a big time reversal potential candle And what you don't want to get caught in is the relief rally. If this ends up closing with a lower high and starts trending back up there, then I got to be very patient with shorting this. You get your one and done, and sometimes it looks good because essentially you're bouncing off the highs. But then in SoFi's case, you do the one and done, and it continues to go. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, taking your profit. SoFi continuing to rally. There was a note at 9 o'clock, Cashmere partnering with SoFi to expand access to venture capital. So that's another positive note for SoFi, up 7.5%. But now I got to start thinking about VWAP, as this stock is on an absolute tear. And I didn't even look at Robinhood. And this is now with the market breaking fresh lows. This is continuing to hold up higher. Also, Tesla.
If you see Big Bear, yeah.
Tesla just lost 296. It tried 300 again.
Oh no!
It smacked down. You know, if you stand in front of it, you get filled. But if you try to catch it on the way back in, you're not always going to get that fill. When it hit 300 this time, there was a seller at 300 that we try to jump out in front of. So still haven't taken anything outside of the two early positions, although it seems like Sunrun is more likely than SoFi, because I'm not buying SoFi at up 8% at the highs at 940.
No, we actually did kind of the opposite there. We added to our CoreWeave position at the lows, which we'll see if that works out. We did average it back in there at 158 like we said we would. So let's wait to see if we do get a downside move. But it doesn't really matter, man. The play of the day, the play of a long time here is going to be Big Bear AI. We are now in the money almost 10% on that $8 break. It's at $8.70 right now. So this will be probably... again, you know, it's not about the P&L, but for me, this is a big P&L trade. So it's you know, it's one that I obviously been focusing on. We've been waiting for this Big Bear AI break. We took it with reasonable amount of shares, and yeah, it's nothing but upside fun. So as Joe said, you know, if you have a trade like this, I think the best thing to do would maybe just to chill out the rest of the day. So I'll probably do that, and we'll focus on some stories. And you guys put anything you want in the chat. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. Your boys' day is done over here. We'll just wait to see what happens with CoreWeave. There's still more to go, man. We have BAC. I mean, we're going to talk about BAC. Big Bear AI is really, really motoring today. But there's BAC not doing much. They got downgraded, so I was looking for a short on there. And if you guys were wondering, like, what's going on, every single day I post up the sticky note, right? And I mean, yesterday, we can go over yesterday's trades if you want. You can go back there and look at them, but there's CoreWeave short, and it's a monster. And BBAI is, hey, what's up, Rick? BBAI was right here on the $8 break. So this is what it looked like before we talked. Oops, that's CoreWeave. This is what Big Bear AI looked like before we talked about it, and it's what it looks like now. So there's Big Bear AI right here. $8, we scheduled that, and there's the break, and now Big Bear AI is $8.60. And, you know, just to give you guys an update, man, I only have 25% left of Big Bear AI, now up 9%, and probably worth clearing out in my own account. And oh, damn, what a move. Also, we maybe wind up making more money. There's Fabian. We might wind up making a little bit more money even on CoreWeave than Big Bear AI. Look where this name's going right here. This could be one of the biggest days, again, that I've had here. So it's 8:42. Let's not jinx it. But let's go over to ADRA, man. It's we're smoking right now, guys.
Here is OCC if you're looking for a small cap play. This is optical cable. Last night they announced they're entering into a strategic collaboration agreement with Palantir to, I guess, expand some of their offerings. It is worth noting as well, OCC just under 6 million share float. Again, we don't have any economic data coming at 9:45 or 10 a.m. for anyone to worry about. Back to you.
Thank you, ADRA. And for those that were asking, and thank you, ADRA, again for putting this note into our chat so I can let you guys know. Oracle is up strong. They announced their Oracle database at AWS is now generally available. And
look at CoreWeave.
Boy, it was just up about 4% to the upside. Now starting to pull back a little bit here. Obviously looking a little bit nasty. The chip names are taking it a little bit on the chin just now, as NVIDIA just broke low of the day and is threatening to go red on the session. But this is where I like it. Prior day highs. I feel like when you look for the gap, some people like say fill it into the volume weighted average price, but I like it bouncing off prior day lows prior day highs for the dips, and then going in prior day lows for resistance levels. So first salvo into Nvidia for myself. I want to give it to the half initially, so I can take a separate trade at the actual low at the 158 level. Micron actually holding up very, very well, but hasn't given me 122s for an entry. Sunrun still weak, but we got out, I think, at the right time. The chip names are. The solar names are catching a little bit of a bid, and I want to let them settle down a bit. Now that you're holding right around that volume weighted average price again, looking for a reload, but I want to see these lower highs holding. So one more close. I want this to close underneath and not at the volume weighted average price. Only new position Nvidia, and SOFI wants 21 bucks. Wow, that stock is on one.
SOFI. All right, so. What's up? Thank you so much, Adam. I mean, guys, get into the chat, man. I mean, I'm just reading this for the first time. Adam says, "Sean, your trading and the way you manage your risk has reached another level in his eyes." Thank you so much. In recent weeks and months, it's phenomenal to see it. You know, thank you. I mean, that's why, you know, we sit here and we talk about trading, and you guys know that it's a tough business, and it's just. Being able to sit here and manage the risk, like you mentioned, that's the difference. And waiting for your positions and just being patient and trading what you know and making sure that you're all over those opportunities, right? I mean, sitting here and trading can be a lonely thing, but you guys definitely make it worth our while. So thank you, Adam, for all those very, very kind words. And trust me, like, it's definitely affecting the way that this. My net has grown as well, is growing, maturing with the trading style, right? And that's why I say over to, everyone's gonna, like, just take a word from Neil, everyone's gonna trade their own style, right? But I'm trying to I've encouraged Obi, Joe over there to just start to think about using more shares, you know, because once you have these trades on, like if I only have 5 or 10 shares or something small up there, then a $3 winner is fine. But I wanted to make a difference, you know, so I'm trying to get a little bit more responsible with my risk, but at the same time, you know, you can, if you get hit, you get hit, and that can happen on both ends of it. So I do understand the hesitancy of trading exactly. CoreWeave is looking really weird, man. The bid just got stacked there on CoreWeave. I'm going to take out a little, okay, well, now it's coming back in. I think that this 50 level might be something there. So we'll take another piece out there at 50. Okay, here it comes in, man. This is absolutely bleeding. So hopefully CoreWeave can get down. We saw a downgrade. Yeah, that deal yesterday wasn't great, well received. But oh boy, man, we're now at 4 times our daily goal. So I know I'm the only one that talks like this, but like, this is why I do it, for those reasons, Adam, so that we can see that, you know, the sort of the growth of what we're talking about here as trading, because, you know, we can have people on the show that talk a lot, and that's great. Like Money Mitch had some great ideas, but like, you know, to sit here and put on trades, I think is something special that we do here at Trader TV Live. So, you know, again, thank you everybody for your continued support, and yeah, that is what it is. You know, I'm here for the trading. And hosting is obviously secondary. So, all right, let's go over. Neil has some nice words to say.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Shout out to Beta Pro, because savvy Canadians like us, traders, looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3X daily leverage ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging, which can be key when you're located in Canada. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings, which is a much bigger deal now, obviously, with tariffs in the current environment. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. Look, they're all the rage for a reason, and we talk about them being in trades. Leverage ETFs, they're all the rage. Good for a trading environment. Obviously, understand their makeup and the decay when you're utilizing them. Not necessarily something you want to hold on to. Speaking of not holding on, I think of everything in terms of risk to reward, but we're 2 for 3 because I set my stop at the prior bar low on Nvidia, and Nvidia continues to rally. So for every one of those, that's just how it is sometimes. I think we made the right call on Sunrun to get out, and it's now looking pretty trendy to the upside. So I just have to sit out Sunrun. Like, it gave us the initial look to the downside, but it's not really up facing this 11 area, which was the secondary area for the short. VWAP doesn't seem to be a thing. It's holding above. I'd like to see some indication, like the topping tail and like a tight consolidation. Maybe you try a short in here with a 10-cent stop to try to get 30, 40 cents. That's what I'd be looking for re-entry, because I'm not thinking long in the solar names with that headline. Like, I just want to play in the direction. If the executive order goes against the space with regards to the incentives, then I don't want to be in any part of the long, and I want to look for the short opportunity in here. So not into it just yet again. And with SOFI, didn't want to chase this one, and it's really starting to extend. 2050 was where I got out, so it looks like a good place to jump right back into this. So SOFI looking incredibly strong, seems to want 21. I'd rather play. I know I took 20 as a break, but I have no intention on taking 21 as a break. I want to buy into 21 as opposed to taking a breakout at this time of day.
All right, thank you, David, for your kind words again. Sean, you are great, and Neil gives so much knowledge. Tell the Wolf buyers to go get a latte. Let's go have a look at what's going on with Wolf. I've been pretty hungry like a wolf these days with Big Bear, and we're just getting out, man. We're just eating up all these shares up here. It doesn't really want to break. So again, down to about 15% or so of that one. And then CoreWeave, man. I mean, we did get that good reload. I'm not really sure what this thing wants to do. So I keep on just like punching out little by little here on CoreWeave to the point where we still have a position. We still have about 20 to 25%, but we've reloaded. Like we had that great short there at 160, then we had this. So I don't know. Let's wait to see if it moves down. I'm bidding 154.60s, then 153.20s. We already have a great print down there at 154, but let's see if we can. Well, the day's already special. I want to thank everybody there for your kind words. Sometimes I get like a deer in headlights here and just start talking about, in my feelings. Okay, so that's that. Japan, news about Japan right now. So we have that Treasury Besant right now coming through. So we'll wait for that one. The other one was you guys wanted Wolf Speed as well. Obviously, the market's making a little bit of a move down, which is great for the CoreWeave shorts, that's for sure. There's Wolf Speed right now, only up a paltry 40%, but still real nice, like we mentioned before. If you took profits yesterday, great, but right now, it's kind of like that Big Bear AI where I told everybody like I was still into 80% even though we have this double, but right now, guess what? It is an official double right now on Big Bear AI from 420 to 860 right now. Well, that would be 840 would be the double up, but there it goes. Again, so yeah, we're just going to be patient, wait for CoreWeave, getting some more out on this one. We'll look for some more plays, BAC, the futures maybe even as we're starting to turn red. Remember, we were pretty short bias most of the day. So far, so are the pre-market. So far, so good on that one. ADRA, what you got there on Japan?
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know here, this is the commentary on Japan. So apparently Japan's trade negotiator by the name of Akazawa had a phone call with Scott Bessent, that is, of course, the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Apparently Japan's continuing to seek a mutually beneficial agreement with the U.S., and they're continuing apparently vigorous talks on tariffs. That's the deal there with Japan and the U.S. Again, no real details there, but Japan was one of the first 7 countries that Donald Trump had posted these letters to yesterday. Back to you.
That is true, and negotiations are good, deals are better. Yeah, well, you can get a lower tariff number because of said deals. So I'm not going to overreact to that, but the market's liking it. Intel has a buy program on it right now. I couldn't tell you why Intel is the strongest chip name so far this morning, but it seems like it is. NVIDIA is not up that much. Micron's doing well, but not nearly this well. Intel's kind of doing it alone. I have not seen a particular headline on it, but what I can tell you is sellers have been winning at the $23 level for the last little bit here. And if it doesn't break through these local highs at 23.25 to 23.3, you think you're going to have a little bit of a fade story on your hands. It's a buy program, and when buy programs end, oftentimes there's some really good selling opportunities. It did this before and managed to extend to about 11 o'clock. And then hold the highs. And this happened just a couple of weeks ago. No story that I can see whatsoever on Intel in particular. So yeah, it's just kind of doing it on its own. I I wouldn't even try to speculate as to why Intel is so strong. We've seen it do this before and then eventually get that fade. I'll wait another 20, 30 cents before taking a shot at it. But I do think it's going to be a fade. If I don't see a news story, that's going to get sold at some point today.
Okay, so yeah, we're just, again, I've been getting more and more out of CoreWeave, right? I mean, we've given some back from the bottom. It's not, we've never been in a losing position or anything like that, but for right now, it is in a spot where debating potentially getting out and trying to figure out what that next play is. So I was just looking here, maybe the 200 period moving average of 158 and change here on CoreWeave in order to get out of it. Like it made the move down. We're pretty happy with it. It's getting bumped up here. I mean, the futures are going. This name, it's not like it's a perma short or anything. We played it off of the downgrade. We played it off of the deal that was not well received yesterday for CORZ there. And yeah, just it looks like whoever's downgraded this thing, which was it UBS? What did I write down? I have no idea. I didn't write down a name. But whoever did there, you know, definitely this got the flush that we were looking for. And like I said, it's going to be fine. So just on CoreWeave, 158, maybe 159. That's 159 there. Like I'm definitely not letting this thing run back up. We don't, again, we don't have that many shares left, but at the same time, amount of shares doesn't matter. So we're just trying to play with what we're doing. 156, maybe if we come back in, we take a little piece out there. I am almost looking at this 50 period moving average and saying to myself, maybe that's our out. But what about just a break of 159? So why don't we try that? If we break 159.01, we'll put a marketable order. The spreads are okay. We're not going to get out. We don't have that many shares left. I would never use like a marketable order if we had like a immense amount of shares because I don't want this to get run through. But I'll get out of 25% if we break through 159 with some more bids lower, right? We're bidding, like I said, 154.60 and 153 with more short up here at 160, 150, which we never came in to play for that. Okay, the other one here is Big Bear, and that's ripping right now. Two highs again. I will be at our next break taking some shares out of my account. So just so you guys know, we're getting some more out here on a double up on the swing account. And then Webull also had a huge move up to 1320 there today. So Webull is back in business right now, it seems like, as we wait to see where that's going to go. But Webull for right now up through 13 again, breaking through 1320. I think that could also be a long, as I know Neil was looking at SMC, SOFI, sorry. SMC.
Well, Robinhood is another one that...
Yeah, Robinhood pulled back though.
Yeah, well, Robinhood's in that category, but the difference between Robinhood and those names is just how ridiculously it's been going. But I have to point one thing. I just got back into Sunrun, and a bit of a difference here happening from the open. So Sunrun, which is weaker than First Solar just broke the trend to from the upside back in. So it's pulling back First Solar, and I looked over, and you can look at the TAN ETF if you're following these solar names on the negative headline. This is looking a little bit strong as well, as it's not really falling like it was before. Sunrun did set up to get back into the short with the lower high that I was looking for. So I played back into the short trade here, and I did take some out in front of the 10. There was a buyer at 10, but the strength in TAN and the fact that it wasn't running with FSLR anymore caused me to want to get some out with a tight exit, and I'm also going to have a tight stop just because the TAN ETF holding up and seeing First Solar catch a little bit of a bounce play. I also jumped back into SOFI, shockingly, and I'll get to Robinhood in a quick little second, but SOFI, look, it just showed a bounce off $20.50, so I'm going to play it off $20.50 back into that 21 level. If we break 21, great. I want to be long going into a 21 break. SOFI, new deal today, partnership. And also, it's a 52-week high continuation break. This is on an absolute tear. It tends to sell off before earnings, but the good news is earnings aren't for 3 weeks, or at least it's like 19 days or something like that. I think they're the 27th of July. And I did promise that we'd talk about Robinhood. Like I said, best guess for me why Hood doesn't have the strength today is because it's already been so strong. So it's not really participating at all in this rally. As a matter of fact, like it just gave back an entire, some people call it a Christmas tree move, but it just gave back the entirety of the move, $4 pullback in here. So SOFI is the one I think that you want to be in. stock doesn't lie. It's up 7%. Hood's been the jam for the last little bit. No questions asked, but not today. Today you want to be in SOFI.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that Hood is going to have a problem near that. So we just got out. We got out of some of our big bear AI at 858 right there. So now we just wait for core. We have BBAI, I'm talking about in the long-term account. We just got some out there again. So good trade on big bear. We offered 858. It took us out. So right there on the swing account, good. Today here, good. We actually wind up making a decent amount as I look to see what we made in our account as opposed to what we make on day trading. That's what we talk about, like, again, you know, just trading this is a lot different than trading something that you may have in one of your accounts because, you know, we want to scalp this out. We have to hold all day. We don't have to hold all day. We can only hold all day. We cannot hold overnight. So we have to react to what's been happening here and trade this accordingly. And like I would hold this core weave until we broke, you know, back above like this 160 or so area. You guys know my stop is 159 and change. So if you guys are on that, that's good. SBET, I saw some people talking a little bit about that anyways in the chat here, as that's only up 19% again here today. As we talked again about, Mitch talked about this as well, that how we had some plays that were happening, BTBT, BITO, like some of these names as crypto and IBIT and whatever get near.
I don't trust those.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't trust any of these things, but as high as we're getting right now, IBIT, again, a nice little move higher. I don't like.
Well, I trust Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, those ETF type names or the Treasury names there. GameStop was one that put through, and they were one of the first ones to go. I mean, not what, there's other companies, but one of the bigger names that we all knew about was GameStop, and they had talked about that, and they had a huge bump there as well, and now all the way back in here as their crypto holdings, you know, wait to get normalized, because I'm not even sure what price some of these guys are in. And as the Nasdaq, hovers around all-time highs, so does Bitcoin. So I think you're just kind of waiting for one of those to fall. And then quickly here, I did want to take a quick little look at the DXY right now. So we'll go into a 30-minute thing here. We'll go into a 1-minute chart. So just to see here what the US dollar is doing, let's go to a 15-minute chart so I can just see over the last couple days here what's been going on. So yeah, we still are trying to push a little bit higher. And of course, tech names, we talked about this yesterday. A strong US dollar helps them because if they're bringing back money from another country, then they're able to bring it back into a strong US dollar, right? So some of that is good. Like the other companies out there, if you can buy an iPhone in China for whatever, 1,000 yuan there, and it's worth nothing, you know, the US dollar is weak against that, then Apple actually not making any money against that trade, right? So they're looking for a little bit of a higher dollar. It does go both ways. There's back and forth reasons for all of that, but we can talk more about that. There's more news here about Japan. And again, as you can see, man, the market doesn't care about anything until we actually get sort of that release, right? And so let's wait for that. I think that's what we're waiting for ADRA to tell us, or we hear in our ear that something is signed or whatever. I know Trump met with Netanyahu yesterday. That has nothing to do with tariffs, I wouldn't imagine, but you know, he's making the rounds, and hopefully we get some more positive talk on that one. I'm going to take a bite of this apple as we wait for CoreWeave to come back in. That is now $1.50, trying to break through. Yep, we're going to go in 1 second. Trying to break through this 156 area right there is CoreWeave, so a nice little move down. I think we'll put a bid here, though, just because we should. It was just at 157.30, so there it is. We'll take a 30 print there as well and go over to ADRA.
You'll start here with thanking your friends at Top One Futures. Are you looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, SPY, or even Bitcoin? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there. They give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital. Pick your path. Instant funded, challenge, or pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million and earned over 1,000 5-star reviews from real traders. So use the discount code TTV, that's TTV, to save on any account. Scan the QR code or at topwinfutures.com and start trading towards your next payout. Here's the S&P 500. It is looking a little lopsided here, trying to push to the downside. Certainly some lower highs and lower lows, and we just broke, it looks like, the pre-market low here, For the SPY, though, we're still well above yesterday's low and some of these post-market levels. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq as well. Looking pretty similar, slightly up, so slightly green, while the SPY is slightly red. Here's Meta, META, kind of choppy this morning, but certainly on watch after we had Bloomberg reporting that Meta has poached another AI researcher, this time from Apple. Then we have Oracle, ORCL, this one kind of pushing lower, but initially had a great pop to start the day. This name is still trading near all-time highs, and this morning they announced that their database with AWS is now generally available. Last but not least, keep an eye on these solar plays like RUN and Enphase, as well as SolarEdge. Basically, we have an executive order here that will kind of curb some of this access to these solar credits. Keep an eye on ENPH and TAN. Back to you.
Yeah, obviously the solar name is going to continue to be in play. They're actually starting to roll over again, but the market in general is about to go red one more time here. They've been battling. The Nasdaq's been battling all morning. Whoops, where'd my Nasdaq chart go? Here we go. Been battling all morning, and it just tried to hold going green. You're going back and forth. So you're in the midst of a turn. If you're looking at strong stocks, this is kind of the point that usually, you hold the lows, you like the reloads. But if you start breaking down, anything that I like for a reversal up top, I'm looking at you, Intel. If you break lower, which it doesn't seem like we're doing right now, then I'd want to go short something that I think is overextended. That's Intel without news. SOFI, it bounced off the volume-weighted average price. It's still going trend higher. SOFI, 52-week high breakout, announced another partnership here today, well before the earnings. It's just the space has been going, and it's its turn to go. That said, not everything am I bullish on that's at highs. Intel's still without a news story that I'm aware of, and it just double tapped 23 even. That's pretty much what I need to see. It's losing that even dollar level. I want to be short at the 90s. And again, if something actually hit the wire that would seemingly be a good story, I saw some people in the chat mentioning that they've started some layoffs, actual job cutting and cost cutting that they've been saying they would do. They started that process. That could be it, but then that's not new news as far as I'm concerned. So I still think it would be a bit of a sell, barring some unforeseen change. But that's just my 2 cents. Amazon apparently is tanking. Well, the market just broke the low of the day. Oh my goodness, Amazon. Well, sometimes sell the news. Prime Day started, and you can get a sale on Amazon apparently, but it's only down 1%. Everybody, I wouldn't be freaking out. It's just a matter of the fact that it's falling faster than the overall market at this moment. I think you'll wait for like 219 or 220. But the new trade for myself was Intel. Said if there was no news, I'd try to get it short. And we're going to go back to ADRA in a quick little second. Watch out below. Futures just went red again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to talk here about Intel. I looked into it. I'll pull up the chart here. There is no news on it today. The layoff stuff was actually from yesterday, and some people attributed that to the reason the stock dropped yesterday. But again, it's just reports, and it's specifically from what I'm seeing, apparently Israeli layoffs, as far as I can tell. So I need to look more into that. Apparently, it's Intel Israel with layoffs. So I couldn't find any news. A couple people getting excited about it on X. We actually have quite a few tags, but again, nothing. The layoffs are an older story, and I can't find anything else. Back to you.
Thanks to Darren and Neil for that story. Of course, I sell Big Bear at 850. It goes to 858. It goes to 870. It's okay. But we take some more out there at 870. So still going off on that one. Wolf Speed, again, another mover today, but heading a little lower. So watch out now. I do think that there is opportunity to take profit on all of these names. That is for sure. Robinhood, we've talked a little bit about that name, hitting $100 basically again, up to 98, and then getting crushed to the downside right now. Come on, CoreWeave, man. I mean, the thing is that we only wrote down one direction here for the Nasdaq today, and that was short, and we wrote that down all the way up here, and now it's all the way down here. So there goes the market. Again, remember we were talking about roller coaster ride there today, and I wasn't sure what stock we wanted to pick on other than obviously the two that we did. I'm only in these two trades, man. These two trades all day, and there's for me, we don't even really need to look anywhere else. All right, so right now Uber down 1%. Of course, Mitch came on here and said this is a name that could win. Not today, but it could. We'll wait to see again, getting that $100 hangover again, I guess. Just up to the upside. There's nothing wrong with the story as we hear about Waymo dropping through. We hear about robo-taxis and Ubers. I mean, there's still what seems to be is thousands of Uber drivers right now on the streets of Toronto. Uber's not going anywhere, man. They've cemented their space, and I really like the stock. It's another one of those names that make the account sing, man. We really love Uber these days, that is for sure. So we're gonna wait for it to come in a little bit, but for right now, we are starting to sell down a little bit here. Some of the other stories that we were working on there today, of course, we talked a little bit about Meta trying to take away some talent from various companies. Yeah, they're not doing anything again today, so pretty flat on the day. I mean, it's downside, but if things go down, nothing's gonna surprise me about the market. I mean, today we were already thinking short there. So really glad that we were able to hit Big Bear AI with pretty much a full default down there at $8. So that's been the difference maker there. And then this CoreWeave is starting to get spicy as well. But there goes Meta also to the downside, as Bloomberg reported that Peng, Apple's AI model lead, is leaving to join Meta Platforms. So that was a news story that was hitting today. And again, that's fine.
Well, Apple's kind of bouncing.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not, as an Apple shareholder, I actually want to get longer on Apple, so we're waiting for that to come through. And again, as soon as China happens, I think that's good. Evercore ISI slapped a 250 price target on Apple. So 250 from here, that gets us back to all-time highs. Not that I'm trading off of price targets. I don't really care about those, but it's nice to see that there's some positivity there. All right, so CoreWeave does get back into 155 there. Actually got into 155 change. I'm gonna punch some out there in the middle. I can show you there. It was right there, 99s or so. We got that fill right there. It was just 15 shares taking out small pieces right now of CoreWeave. But again, we're short at 158. So it's like, we'll take $30 here, $30 there. At the end of the day, it's gonna be P&L number 2. Big Bear AI will be 1. CoreWeave will be 2. And that's for myself. Obviously, I only have 2 trades. So we'll wait on that. And yeah, just continue to look for some more plays. I mean, Tesla today, here we go. I mean, Intel's still going. And again, we're just hearing that in our ear. It's popping to the new highs. Neil made a good call there, I think, on Micron. That was a name that's been beat up after what was a pretty good report.
Samsung had news, and that was the only reason.
Yeah, well, still, it was a good look, though, because, well, I guess not really. A good look, yes, but it's, again, not really doing anything.
Well, apparently Intel's the one that's going. But it's similar in the same vein. Like if you read through the Samsung report, and again, Intel broke the high. I was short. I wanted my price to be 90s. I think it ended up actually at 89s, so not exactly correct. But I wanted to risk about 10 cents. I risked 10.5 pennies on that one. I still think there is without there being anything other than this layoff story, then this is where the sellers have won before. It's the only place that I'd be looking to short the stock. It is on an overall profile. I know I don't usually say this about Intel, but overall, this is a stock which is bottoming out in every sense of the word. Like, they're trying to make a comeback. They're doing the right things, which is by reducing costs and trying to streamline and focus your business so you can actually compete in the places where they've been getting cleaned out, right? Like, and again, just a laundry list of things that they're doing wrong, so there's no point getting into it. But overall, this is still an upward trending stock from the lows. It's just running into resistance at the 23 level. Just to go back over to SOFI, because this is continuing. It's up 7%, but it's doing this dance right here at these higher lows. So technically, people will call it, hey, it's bull flagging or pennanting, or I guess that's not really the way that you would say it. What I see is it's making higher lows on the upward trend. And so it broke out at 20, and now it's holding 20.5, but it cannot get through the 3/4 mark, that 20.75. So it looks to me like early on it was every 50 pennies mattered. Now you're looking at every like 20 to 25 cents, right? So that's just the way that it's working. It's working by quarters instead of half dollars at this point. So getting some out when it goes 10 to 15 pennies kind of makes some sense as you're going into a different stage of the day. But not every name in this space is rallying like they were before. I'm a little bit cautious based on what I saw happen in Robinhood here. Because if you lose the volume weighted average price on SoFi, I don't want to see it do a drop like Hood did, where it gives up the ghost very, very quickly. That's what happens to names that are on big rallies, is it can fall just as quickly as they go to the upside. Now, you got a bit of a hint here with Robinhood because it turned somewhere around where it did yesterday. But that's what would give me some caution when I'm looking at the fintech space, is the selling that's still happening in Robinhood, which had up to this point been a pretty decent-sized leader in the group. If you're looking over at what's going on in crypto, because sometimes we can have these moves in fintech pulled up by Bitcoin, this is the other reason for caution. Bitcoin, it's up. It doesn't matter. It's a 24-hour market, everybody. But it's heading lower. On a 15-minute, that's a heavy sell candle. And we haven't really seen anything come back and bounce off the bottoms yet. If the market's at lows, this is just kind of following the Nasdaq right now. And while that's happening, I temper the expectations on something like a SOFI as to how far it's going to be able to rally on this third bounce through. So third time I'm long on SOFI. I don't feel as good about it as the early break or maybe even the second one unless some things start to change. I want some strength in Bitcoin. I want the selling in Robinhood to stop, and then we can start getting back into the upside.
All right. Yeah, thanks for that. We did go, let's talk a little bit about why we're short here. We shorted CoreWeave today. There's a series of analysts, and it issued negative notes on CoreWeave, and the stock announced to acquire Core Scientific yesterday. CORZ, right? And I mean, whenever there's a company acquiring other companies, that generally the acquirer goes down. And yesterday we did have CoreWeave make a move down, and then today they come out, stifle downgrades CoreWeave to hold from buy there. Although they upped their price target to 115 on CRWV, which would be fine by me if it hits that price, citing near-term uncertainties around that acquisition. It may work out. I don't know what CoreZ does. But Mizuho also downgrades for mutual to outperform right there. So we were just kind of looking short there on CoreWeave today, and was able to grab that. Then we also, what we had talked about here was really just trading it the way we want to trade it. That's what we do here. I trade things how I want to trade them, and also look at Ric Flair and wonder how come he has 2 watches on. Right there, and shout out to Mr. Wonderful. I'm gonna have to change who can reply to that. Only Mr. Wonderful. But right there, we'll see. Go over there. Let me know if you like that post. But there's CoreWeave right there, eyeing the 162 for a short entry. It pops up to 161. We take that. We actually got 160s right off the jump. It was a 200 period moving average. Then we also took the 156 break. Like, it's not, this is what I'm doing. CoreWeave could have dropped $10 on that play. It didn't, and it gave us an opportunity. And then also the Big Bear AI trade is posted up there at 9 o'clock as well, as we have that one. That's going to be an absolute monster. We're just able to take some out of that. And then here's the end of the CoreWeave trade as we start just to get out of it, as it's still coming back in. My next bid, I told you, was at 154.60s. So we need another $1 down, and we'll take that. And then we have some more bids down here. Actually, we do not. We have bids at 153, breaking the low of the day. So we'll wait to see if we get another fill right here, which would match our best fill to the downside. And shout out to anybody watching whose name happens to be Phil right there. So that's what it is. Yeah, so let's go over and look at NVIDIA quickly, as we got to look for some, we don't have to do anything. We're, like I said, man, the day that we're on right now is chill. We were talking about that, putting on our trades, up to 10 o'clock and then kind of chilling through after that. That's probably something that I'm going to wind up doing. And NVIDIA breaking through 160. Yeah, man, I did have that. Thank you for asking. Make sure you do get in the chat, by the way. If you're part of the team here. What's up, Love to Trade? So yeah, I was looking at that NVIDIA play, but the problem is with NVIDIA and with what I was thinking is this is the market, right? I mean, we were already thinking short. We talked about trading the TQs up at 85. It didn't hit there, so it's all good. And right now, although I can talk about Big Bear AI, unfortunately on that stock, I only have 5% left. We took some out on the tops there, but NVIDIA, yeah, it just needs to get going. And right now, if anything, it might be a downside push. And the fact that I'm short CoreWeave, I mean, if NVIDIA falls and a lot of these chip names fall, then good on it, man. I mean, we can still have, even with the amount of shares that we have left, which is probably about 15 or so % left on CoreWeave, it still matters. So like, this stock is not moving pennies, right? We can sit here and talk about Intel. Intel is great. This stock right here is now $5 from the high right there. So this is trying to move. It's a $150 stock. It's going to move much different than an Intel. And in Intel, of course, I would hope that you're trading more shares on Intel. Well, I would be anyways on CoreWeave, on Intel than on CoreWeave. But for right now, Intel up that 5% on old news. It's kind of like what's happening on Big Bear AI. Look, I'm happy as hell about Intel. You guys know I'm long under $20, and I've said it was been the biggest waste of my time. But if money's going to come in, then my time can be wasted all at once because, like I said, man, we got vacation time next week. I got to pay for that, going over to the United States, chilling out. We're going to be in the Boston area all week next week from Tuesday to Sunday. So if anybody's around there, my kid wants to go to Shake Shack. We went there in Miami. He loves that. So although I'm trying not to tell him that there's one right downtown. Right now in Toronto, we have a Shake Shack. My daughter wanted to go to Chick-fil-A last week. We went there after the Minecraft experience. Apparently we got 4 Cape codes. Apparently there's something about Cape codes. We gave those to some of my their cousins. So they're really happy with that, the Minecraft experience. But Tisha said something in the chat about making sure everybody takes profits. I think that that's something that we all have to make sure we do, right? And I think that's great advice, Tisha, because, you know, whether or not you're trading Wolf yesterday, SBET, you know what else is on a run today? Soundhound. Hood's a good example. SOFI is going to be a great example. I'm actually going to get out of SOFI right now.
I just muted myself because I was going to sneeze, but I'm good. A lot of people have been saying, like, look at AMD go, and then I saw this in the chat, which is a really good point. I think they were right about this. Peter Green, Intel has nothing to do with catalyst or fundamentals. I've watched it do this repeatedly. I think it's a tactical algo play that makes money somehow. I tend to agree. That's why I was saying, look, I don't know for a fact that it's program buying. You know what program buying kind of looks like, and then you get an idea. And when there's program buying like this that doesn't make sense against the market, I want to play like a reversion on it, because usually when it gives it up pretty well, but you have to wait for it to stop. Now, if it resumes, you get out. But it does look like it's a little bit different this time. Like, so essentially you ran stops and broke higher, but it's not nearly as strong program buying as before. But I think you're right. Like, it just seems like it's been doing this every once in a while, where it gets a sustained rally for a bit, but it usually does pretty big pullbacks. On a 15-minute, I think I just have to wait an entire time frame for it to show that it's slowing down, but it is at that resistance. Look, the names are still looking pretty strong. Like, SoFi looks okay. I was just able to get some more out, but the market breaking lows. NVIDIA just lost the volume weighted average price. It's heading lower. You've got Amazon, Apple, and some of the other mag names looking relatively weak. Amazon still trying to bottom out. So you got to be a little bit cautious with anything that's working on a long right now, because the market doesn't look healthy. Well, healthy is not the right word. It doesn't look very strong this morning. Still looking for the first green candle on a 15-minute basis on the Qs here. ADRA?
IWM here up about 0.5%. Not a bad look here, that we are kind of a good amount below days highs, around 221.5s right now, just below 221. But nice support here on that 220.40 area on this 15-minute chart. Again, though, not the rally, or I guess yesterday we kind of had a strong push in the open. We closed lower the rest of the day. Let's see what happens here today. Here is Asset Entities, ASST. This name ran yesterday. This is actually a day 2 move off of yesterday's catalyst announcing that they entered an amended merger agreement with Strive Enterprises. Asset Entities, it's worth noting here, does have a decent short float, around 22%, and they've rallied in the past beyond yesterday's move. Here is ProKidney, PROK, another decent short float name, I believe around 18%, reporting apparently statistical and clinically significant and meaningful results here for one of their treatment studies. So good look there for PROK. Last but not least, TLRY. This is Tilray. I couldn't find any news on this name. This one's actually a penny stock right now, trading around 55 cents, but about a 20% short float, and it is one that retail investors watch pretty heavily, guys. Back to you.
All right, thanks. Yeah, that's interesting there.
Always sell the weed stocks when they go up.
I know. Well, you should see those charts for the weed stocks. If you guys haven't looked, it's pretty bad. And you know, the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars that I'd lost on weed stocks is never coming back. And unfortunately, the opportunity cost is what hurts me the most, because putting that money to work anywhere else, you would have been, the difference is probably like 1,000 points, if not more than that, like percentage points as a gainer. Because anyway, there's that proc right now, halted at 165 with a tap, which is a theoretical auction price. So where it possibly could open $1.70. You know, so that's the whole thing right there. So we're gonna wait to see where that winds up opening up. And then, yeah, like we were mentioning there, I don't even want to, you know, like looking up a stock like Tilray that's at 55 cents. Our charts aren't going to do it justice, but you could just see what's been happening right there. Like this stock, if we go over to even a weekly, monthly, whatever, let's go to a monthly chart of Tilray, and you'll see exactly, hopefully, what I'm talking about here. But there it was, right? I mean, I don't know what else to do. This showing $240, 140 there, high of 300, now 55 cents. And I mean, even worse, ACB, another one, and then let alone all of these companies, and then let alone all the ones that went completely bankrupt that at least have a zero here right now, so it doesn't look this bad. But there's ACB, $1,100 top, trading right now, ACB, just to show you guys what Aurora Cannabis is at as well, $4. So $1,100 down to $4 right now. So yeah, and it's just like, talk about putting money into a Nasdaq fund or whatever, a money market fund, whatever. Anything that doesn't lose 99% would have been nice. So yeah, that kind of sucks. But what doesn't suck right now is CoreWeave. And there it goes, man. We're bidding 70s, and there we go. We get hit. No, did I pull my 70? I must have pulled it. Okay, so I pulled my 70s. So we'll have to put it back in there. Oh no, we already got, no, I didn't. We got filled right here. My bad. We already got filled down here. So we got filled once at the 70 marker. It just comes back in again. So there's goes CoreWeave right now. $3 in the money there. BBAI, we talked about getting out, and I was telling you that we had 5% left. That's because we do. There's some more outs there. There's some more outs there. It has broken through VWAP. So I think we'll get ready to end this trade pretty soon here on BBAI. I can't make that much P&L-wise on, there we go, get some more out there at 40s on just 5%. So we'll get it out so we don't have to worry about it and a possible reload. But right now it's all about CoreWeave for me and all about a read for Neil.
Yeah, and shout out to Mitch we had on from Trade the Pool, but we get another behind the scenes look, not just having him on once a week. This time we're diving into the community side at Trade the Pool, because each trader, gets their own hub, and inside you'll be able to find Trade Talk. It's a powerful charting and analysis space where you can map out strategies, you can break down your setups, share predictions with the trading community at Trade the Pool. If you're looking for a real-time interaction, you can also go to the Trade the Pool Discord that you can visit. It's full of active traders. They want to share their insights, trade, and tips to all grow together. At Trade the Pool, you're not trading alone. You're joining a firm that invests in your growth, technically, mentally, and financially. You can check out tradethepool.com, scan the QR code you have out in front of you. And if you're interested, also link should be in the description. And just as I was sort of saying, the market broke down, to me, this was sort of an easy out when we lost 20.5. We're long right at the mid 50s on a reload, but you're getting the lower highs, not really as strong as it was before. I was pointing out some of the weakness you were seeing relatively in Robinhood and again, the overall market. Look, I can always get back in. So if I still up 5%, it could pull back into $20. Maybe you get a support off of 19.8. There's always another place that you can jump into that trade. I do believe we're going to go back up to ADRA, however, at the desk.
TransUnion making quite the move here at TRU. We do have a comment from Bill Pulte, who is the leader of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac here in the U.S. administration. He's saying that effective today to increase competition to the credit score ecosystem and consistent with, Trump's mandate here for lower cost, Fannie and Freddie will now be allowing lenders to use Vantage 4.0 score with no current requirement to build new infrastructure. So good look there for TRU. Moving to the upside, they'll get already giving back some of that move on this post from Bill Pulte. Back to you.
Thank you very much. I heard Fannie Freddie. The first thing I went over is are they actually going to be moving on that? And the answer, you can look at them in the OTC, is going to be a resounding no. While the market heads lower, there is the wrong word. There is something happening on Tesla trying to get back into this 300 on Tesla. Look, the first time it got here, you can see very clearly, whoops, I didn't want to zoom out, just wanted to zoom in there. You can see very clearly the rejection of the 300 level. Now you can wait, and again, everyone's strategy is going to be different. I think you have to stick to whatever works for you and whatever it is that you're trying to do. I like to try to take things on the way back in. So if it's strong, I want to sell it on the way back. Once it was closed underneath that 300, and then we held underneath here, that's when I'm looking to short it. I would look for the same thing because it's strong on Tesla. And as a matter of fact, if it were to take out the high, I think you're breaking long through 300.5. The market's at the low, and a stock which sold off. And remember, have we had any more noise about Elon and the political party today? No. We had a reaction to the news from the weekend that was harsh with Tesla gapping down. Then we essentially had it make a bottom, go sideways, and close near its high on the day, and then continue a relief rally. So the actual in-market reaction to Tesla outside of the first 5 to 10 minutes yesterday, or maybe call it the first 15 to 20 minutes.
That's the other.
Outside of the first 15 to 20 minutes, it's been buying the 290s, and then today it's been buying the dips into the prior high. So yeah, you gap down because nobody wants Elon in politics, but that hasn't actually been the reaction of money since the market's been open the last couple of days. So you got to pick your spots if you're trying to short it. Well, overall, this has been a really good support dip buy. Right now, like 260, 296, it does seem looking pretty solid there. Do want to jump over. And Brian H. in the chat, Elon's distracted. I don't disagree with you. As a Tesla shareholder, I don't like it. I think it's, regardless of what you think about the politics, there's too much at stake right now for Tesla not to be laser focused, right? Like they need to have a big breakthrough when it comes to robotaxi, automated driving. I know they're getting there, but this is a big battle. This is the next one. On top of that, I think robotics is going to be big, and that's still in the early stages as well. There's just a lot going on with Tesla to be able to justify the valuation. And as someone who bought it at 220 and took it out twice, I only hold on to a third of those shares, and that's in a swing trade. My long-term Tesla shares, I haven't touched them in a while. And I'm looking for a place to get back in, and I haven't gotten a reason. So I'm still thinking maybe you have to retest some of those lows. But let's be real. They've been buying the stock outside of the first 20 minutes of the open yesterday. It's been mostly buying on Tesla. So it's on a relief rally. I think you got to be careful shorting this. If it does break that, it's not 350 cents. I just kind of threw that number out there. Oh, wow. The double top is 339 cents. So that would be the breakout area. I just like taking it through an even dollar or a half dollar. I don't like those rando breakouts. Let's go back to ADRA.
Before we get to crypto, I want to mention RXRX Recursion. This one is really strong this morning. Earlier today, they announced they've acquired the full rights to Rev 102, which I guess is an inhibitor for a specific type of treatment. They acquired this from Rally Bio, so good luck here for RXRX. Let's talk about crypto, though, because this is our crypto segment. Here's the daily chart for BTC. We're kind of continuing here to coil into new all-time highs. And if you look here, I want to talk about this drop on June 21st here into 98,000. We've only made higher lows since then. Let's see if we can take out this 110.6 level, which now at this point would be a bit of a double top. Of course, the level above that is 112,000, and that's all-time highs. Here, we're going to take a look at Ethereum and some of these other names. Ethereum actually up about 1% here. Well, just a little bit below this 2,600, so good look for ETH. Solana down about almost 1%. Cardano down about 1/3%. Doge basically flat. So yeah, I would say Ethereum and Bitcoin, maybe, especially Ethereum, making bigger moves than the rest of their peers in the crypto space today, guys. Back to you.
He did? Thanks, ADRA. We were just talking to ourselves there. No, because I just heard QuantumScape, and then I couldn't remember some of those names that Mitch had talked about when he was talking about portable batteries or FONC or something like that. I'm not sure, but QuantumScape, again, it doesn't matter. We can ask him or figure it out or rewind. I think it was FONC. Someone in the chat might know about FLNC. Okay, thanks, ADRA. There's the move there for QuantumScape there as that's starting to go as well. Super Micro starting to go. We did take some more profit. Or did I get filled on CoreWeave? No, I did not. I actually put a bid at 155.20s. Hopefully that can come in and we'll be fine with whatever we're doing here on CoreWeave. But looking for a little bit more. And then Big Bear AI is back up. You just talked about Tesla. It's
just broke.
Yeah, just broke. So good. We can go back and look at that quickly. But SMCI, I guess, right now is one that's also back to highs. This has been another good name for many traders to look through. Right there is SMCI, so a potential breakout right now on this semi name right there for SMCI. So
it's the best squeeze name in the semis.
Yeah, probably for squeeze plays. Yeah, I don't know what the short float is on this one right now. I prefer Marvell as a trade, but right there, SMCI, great look. And then, as Neil mentioned there, if we're going to squeeze,
it's a company not close. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Just looking at the chart there, of course. We talk about squeeze plays. It's not like we're talking anything other than really than technicals or anything. But there goes 50. So I think, yeah, once you break 50, this name goes for sure. So you got that Tesla break 300. I wrote down Tesla 292 long today. I don't know what the bottom was.
90, it didn't break 95.
Yeah, exactly. So I hadn't looked at it. And, you know, Tesla has these wicked moves, but that's a good trade right there, as in there it goes, breaking through 3 bills. So good trading there. Look at the futures back to VWAP again. So, yeah, man, might be worth taking a little bit more off on CoreWeave, but Neil has the banger there with Tesla. So why don't we go see about where you're getting out of that one?
Shoot, I just heard something about electrifying the Arabian economy and did not catch
the Arabian economy.
I didn't catch the company in my ear that they were referring to. Just a couple of things very quickly. So the break did happen on Tesla, but I want to zoom it out a little bit. Let's go Nasdaq after, and we'll talk Tesla. Tesla, we just mentioned the breakout. It did just happen. Where it got bought, I wasn't here on the second, but when I see sellers emerge at 304 and then turn into buyers, when I'm playing station to station, I want this break, which was essentially 300.5. I know I have 41s. We went over this, but it's into the 304. So scalp the first move, which got you to 301.5, and then I want to see us get to the 304 level on Tesla. Just worth mentioning, I still am favoring a 30. I put in my note today, I still like a 306 short. So I still like a 306 short. I don't have to take it, but I'm going to get out of a long in front of that level, because I still feel like that level is going to be a short one. We never tested it yesterday, which I think is a bit of a big deal. And then I was going to talk about the futures. Yeah. So sometimes the reversal doesn't give you the best opportunities in the world to get in. I'm looking across the board, and almost nothing that I'm looking at outside of Tesla is rallying the way the Nasdaq just curled. So clearly, Tesla's going, but there's got to be something else driving this that I haven't seen yet. What I am not happy about, I got out of it, so I guess I shouldn't care. But SOFI, on that market rally, which we're still continuing, it's about to break down again. Yeah. So SOFI might be done for a bit here. It lost VWAP, it lost that 20.5. Gonna have to wait for this to bottom out, because the market just went green and is flying, and one of the strongest stocks from the morning is now starting to sell off. Whatever rotation has happened, clearly we've got some new winners. Meta's not doing that much off the bottom here. Apple just went green, so Apple's leading this charge a little bit as well. So Tesla looking strong. I see a lot of people talking about AMD. Yeah, AMD's breaking out. Good catch. AMD is breaking out. You already mentioned SMCI. Yeah. So there's chips that are stronger than NVIDIA today. I'm not buying any of those over NVIDIA in the long term, although at these levels, maybe you don't want to buy NVIDIA. AMD, I know it doesn't get a lot of love because it gets compared to essentially NVIDIA, which is unfair. I'll use a basketball analogy. Jerry Stackhouse was a very, very, very good NBA player. But you'd think of him differently if people didn't call him the next Michael Jordan. That's just a fact. And AMD, you'd think differently if NVIDIA hadn't been so impressive. And there's still going to be a winner in the AI space. It's still in the midst of a very good and continuing uptrend, and all it did is pull back. And that's really good. This is a good long, technically. And I don't know why I wasn't thinking long on AMD today after it gapped up. You held the bottom, you gap back up, you're in an uptrend on the daily, the chip names all look pretty solid. Yeah, I don't know why we didn't look at that one today. But AMD, I think it gets a little bit too much of a bad rap. It gets overdone because of the comparisons that get made. And sometimes sometimes that can be unfair. All right, so Tesla starting to stall out at 302, but it's still all green on this move. It held 301 on a pullback on the 3-minute. If I was giving it a tight stop, I'd put my stop to 301, but I have it at the prior high. I'm giving it all the way back into the prior high, or we're gonna hit my target. And let's go back over by the way, that proc just halted again. Let's talk a little bit about where you could find halts potentially.
Yeah, you can find them at eSignal. You can scan that QR code below or on the screen right there and get involved with eSignal. It does give you that 1 month free. And if you are looking for, again, different scanners, opportunities, news feeds, the App Store there, 50 plus brokers attached, or 500 data symbols, just anything. It's completely customizable. It is eSignal. It is world class. And there is going to be no better charting platform available. I've been using it for 24 years, and they just came on board. We want to thank ICE and all of our members over there at eSignal for helping us provide this promotion to you. And if you've scanned that QR code, let us know how you like it. Send me a tweet or whatever. I can send you my layout. We can get that all figured out. But it is right there. It is your Screener Plus. That's what Neil and I use the most over here. I'll show it all the time. Make sure you do get over there with eSignal. And thank you to everybody again for your continued support on that. I think the problem was, good analogy there with Stackhouse, but I think the problem with AMD is NVIDIA and Broadcom and basically that's it, because they're at all-time highs and well over all-time highs right now. So this is kind of like Jerry Stackhouse maybe when he's like a teenager.
I use, a better example would have been Christian Laettner and the Dream Team would have been a much better example.
Oh, your example
it's like surrounded by the best, and Laettner, he never stood a chance. He was a very good player for a long time, but he never stood a chance after he was put on that Dream Team. Because forever you're just like, that guy had no business there.
Right.
And everybody, and he didn't have any business being on that team, but he was still pretty solid.
Oh yeah. AMD is still a solid company. I think it's just like, this is still the advanced money destroyer. We got to get close to breaking right now, which we may wind up doing. I don't think, like, I'm long AMD, but it's from. Actually, that's part of the cleaning up of the account.
I do that so much.
I actually might not even be long AMD, but I know I've traded that.
I know I am.
The thing is like when I look at an NVIDIA that is up, like if AMD was up around $200, like pretty much most of the Mag 7, most chip names are going to be near some of their highs. Obviously, we have a name like Intel that's crushed accounts. AMD has crushed accounts, but there is some pickup game that's going to be played here, and at some point, you just hope to be on the right side of it when it starts to go. For me, I would never push the buy button on AMD over NVIDIA. So, but
not even on a trade. Like
on a trade, day trading is different. I'm just talking.
Well, what about a swing trade? Like, would you buy strategically for like a?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Only because I think the same catalysts I would think would maybe apply.
Yeah,
to NVIDIA. But again, like things could change. Like if AMD somehow gets some interest, maybe the takeover target or something, I don't know. But for right now, I would let sleeping dogs lie. But AMD's had a great bottom run.
It has.
About that. But remember, NVIDIA, like we could say AMD's had a good bottom from 80 to 138. You could have bought NVIDIA also at $80.
Well, for all of the crap that I said, I haven't bought AMD in probably, I don't want to say a decade because that might not be true, but it was definitely before COVID. I haven't touched that stock in my personal account, but I was a buyer in March of NVIDIA when I was at spring training, and that day the market got tanked. So if I'm speaking positively about AMD, I'm talking more in the short term and the rally that it's on, because I'm not touching it in my long term either. I'm not as much of a fan.
See, this is the thing. What's up, West, y'all? See, this is the thing that we get caught up in, is these valuations. There's a reason why NVIDIA is nearing $4 trillion and AMD is only $200 billion. They have way more room to grow, correct, but you have to have the products. You have to have, it's like, hey man, this one horse has won 30 events in a row. So therefore, these other guys that's only won 2 or 3, they still have 27 more races that they could win, right? It's NVIDIA, like if you take that bottom, someone in the chat goes, I'm long 88 on AMD. So that means that you have the bottom of the tariffs for AMD. Okay, this is NVIDIA. If you're long the bottom of NVIDIA at 85, it's now at 160. So if you just stuck with NVIDIA and did not go with AMD, you're up 20% more, and that's just in the last 4 months, from April to July. So even if you picked AMD at the bottom, this has returned $30 more.
Micron's returned more.
Yeah, Micron. Yeah, it's Micron's a little different of a game because.
Oh, I know. I'm just throwing a name out there.
DRAM, but yeah, no. To your point, and no, it's everybody can win. I mean, we all want to support our stocks. It's like I don't necessarily think Big Bear AI is the next Palantir, but I didn't think Palantir was.
This is better too.
Yeah, of course. Broadcom's better too.
Sorry about this chart. We're not going to go to Dare. No, but just to continue the point, Broadcom's better too, and that's at all-time highs. I do believe split adjusted.
Yeah, it is.
Well, okay, sorry, check that. It was at all-time highs yesterday, but not today. We are supposed to go to ADRA because it's 1040 to see a little bit of sector watch and see what is driving the market recovery right now.
Honestly, it's not much, guys. The only sectors that are kind of notably green are health technology, with Eli Lilly leading this group to the upside up about 2%, and energy minerals, pretty much all of these names sharply green. So keep an eye on oil. We did have, I guess, a little bit of news here with regards to Israel and Iran. Iran's foreign minister apparently saying in an op-ed for the Financial Times that I guess the U.S. will have to revive diplomacy in the region. So interesting note there. Either way, I've heard a couple or seen a couple Iran and Israel headlines, minor stuff. Energy minerals seems to be liking these catalysts. Tesla also a nice look here up here, and the rest of the consumer durable sector isn't bad. With the exception of Uber and DoorDash, we have transportation strength. So here's what's leading the market. What is pushing us lower, or trying to anyway? Utilities, really bad look. All of these names bright red. NEE here, NextEra Energy, the largest name in the sector, down almost 4%. Then we've got finance, JP Morgan down about 3%, AXP to the downside, Goldman Sachs, and then we have Bank of America, of course, to the downside with a downgrade this morning. Retail trade pretty red. And these tech sectors, which usually tend to be leading or lagging the market right now, they're just kind of chilling. Broadcom, Nvidia, and Apple all relatively flat. Technology services has Google a little bit weaker, but Microsoft and Meta to the upside are relatively flat. And then Netflix actually to the downside today. So mixed performance across the board, but health, energy, minerals, and consumer durables seem to be where the strength is. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. And I know you just mentioned, first of all, good question in the chat, Ryan. We'll definitely talk U.S. 10-year. We have no issues doing that. Let me know in the time frame, because I'm going to talk about this on the daily. But I want to update, as you mentioned, Tesla there, Adara. So Tesla, this was the level we were waiting for on that break. I'm not looking for the entire gap fill on Tesla. I was looking for it to break here, and you can kind of see like it's. And again, everyone's going to have like their own trading style, but this was an established range from about it's like 299, 298. I say 300 because that's where we broke out from, into about 304. And then when it broke away, look where it dipped into. So on the way back up, this is just how I'll play a breakout trade to the resistance level. So whether it curls here, and here's the thing, for every time that you get out and it looks like, oh my goodness, this is exactly where you got the turn, trust me, for every time that that's your style and you get out at that top, I'm going to also get out at a SOFI and it's going to go twice as far as it did before. It's just a matter of like staying consistent with your breakout trade strategy and just sort of doing the same thing and repeating it. Oddly enough, wow, okay, well, that just happened. SoFi just broke a new low, and the Nasdaq just pulled back pretty decently. I did want to at least address what was going on in the 10-year for sure. Like you are seeing this creep back up to the 4.5 level. Look, bond yields matter. The 10-year is a big one. This gets anywhere near 460 again, and it doesn't generally bode well for us. You're really starting to see it creep up again. Let me just zoom in so you can see. You're really starting to creep up. It absolutely has a chance to break a wedge pattern, which is higher lows and lower highs, which would be a little bit momentum up. That would be ultimately not the best for the markets, but it's still in the beginning of this move. Like, I wouldn't be freaking out just yet. Let's see what happens. We got a 3-year auction. Later on in the week, we'll have more auctions as well. So I don't think we're at freak out moment, but you do want to keep an eye on this. If we get above 4.5, the markets are just chilling out at the highs for a reason. We're going a little bit sideways, and yields creeping up isn't going to help either. So keep an eye on this. We get above that 4.5, maybe we get that pullback that everyone says will be so healthy for us.
I'm sending, I just told Obi only 2 trades today, so I know he doesn't trade that as many, and you know, the change in the trading style, and with Big Bear AI, the one there, and then CoreWeave, the second one, and we just got to fill at 155 on CoreWeave, like wow. And then I want to say thank you to, oh no, I missed, your name was kind of funny there. What was it? Off the block or something like that? Talking, anyways, here's the chat. What's up to everybody in the chat? We'll do what's for lunch in a minute. It's BAC right there. Anyways, there was talking, you tagged me, there it is right here. Often beat, what's up with Clint Nelson? What's up, Clint? Yeah, that BAC short sure is printing, right? I mean, we did talk about that. It's on the sticky note right there. There's the BAC short. Unfortunately, again, it's, you know, we talk about it again all the time on the show, but it's tough to get the exact prices. I should have got, what's up, Rick? I should have got a little bit more, not careful, but maybe a little more aggressive, I guess, on that call right there. And by the way, I found some more, what's up, Fabian? I found some more Trader TV Live. I got about 10 of these left, but there it is right there. I was trying to give it, and I'll talk about it, but I was trying to give it up to 48.25. It didn't even come close to that. Like, I thought maybe the market, if it was going to run, we could have got that bump up there on BAC, but we definitely hit that short today. It was a pretty good one. 48.25 is like kind of not really anything significant. I'm sitting at 48. Like, I wanted to get that short and then look at 48.25. But for right there for BAC, thank you again for the kind words, and I do hope that you can, Mr. Clinton Nelson, can have a successful day here with that. So here's like 48.25. That's 48.30s. So I was just thinking that if we did get a bump up there, that we would prefer the short, and the short definitely printing there for BAC. And it's not even, you know, the banks continue to get hit, right? Next Tuesday, we're a week away. I won't be here all of next week, as shout out to everybody that's in Boston right there. I just ran into the lawyer there in the back. He was telling me about some pretty nice places there. He said Little Italy is quite amazing, so we'll probably head that up there. But there's, sorry, I want to look at JP Morgan. JP Morgan down, straight down. Like, this name getting bled out a little bit right there, JP Morgan. So yeah, bank stock's not doing that well. We did get some out last week on JPM, so we're pretty happy with some of that. But yeah, nice downside play there for JP Morgan. And again, the Fed interest rate tool, right? I mean, that's going to be a factor here, because as we worry about where the Fed's going, we can just check out the rate and what the market and the street is expecting right here from that next announcement, which is in July. And it's right there. So July, 95% chance of no cut. So this has gotten a lot aggressive, right? We used to be at 70 at some point. Ooh, Amazon Prime Day spending down 14%. Right. Yikes! In early,
that's $2 down on that.
Yeah, on early.
In the time you were saying it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not going to be good, right? I mean, there goes the downside. This is going to be a big piece of my portfolio, and it's just, if Amazon goes down like this, what's going to happen? It's just going to get bigger.
Buy the 200.
200. Oh yeah, I'm buying.
Period.
Oh, period. Yeah, where is that?
Oh, that's not till 06.
Yeah, that's
really far.
I mean, something like that might be okay. So anyways, there it goes on that news. I would say buy kind of a dip like this. I mean, I don't know. Like, Amazon, Prime Day is just a thing, right? Like, I feel like they have Black Friday. They have, I think, multiple Prime Days, maybe even.
Well, they keep extending them. Like, it's like, okay, there's more. They have more of them. They have more deals. Events in the general sense. Prime Day itself just keeps getting longer and longer. So why would the early numbers be better if you keep making it longer? Yeah, I understand why you get a red candle when that headline comes out, right? Because the algos dropped a bid. The first thing that happens, like, negative story, they hear Amazon and it's like negative. So the first thing that happens is algos that make up half of the market, they just stop bidding, and and then anybody that sells short term, anyone that was maybe looking to enter short, all that kind of stuff that causes a big downward candle. But this could end up being a buying opportunity. Usually you like to look where buyers were before, which is a couple of dollars lower from here. But I'm not terribly concerned if early returns aren't necessarily that good for Amazon. You got to remember, AWS is such a big factor. Like, I get it. It matters, Prime Day sales, but I love Amazon for a heck of a lot more than just the results on Prime Day.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like, I can understand why it's taking a little bit on the chin. I want it to settle down for a little bit here before even considering a day trade. But yeah, it's already starting to get bought up. Maybe it isn't going to get down to what we were just showing, like that 17 area would be a logical place for it to go. But I just see in the chat Angel saying no one cares about Prime Day. It's overrated. I don't know that nobody cares, but I'm kind of agreeing with that sentiment. It might be a bit of an overstatement, but it's not my prime concern either. ADRA?
Yeah, time here for our Money Talk segment. This is the U.S. dollar and the 3-minute actually looking really good, but it's always important to zoom out and see what we're doing farther back. I mean, we've been in a nice little bounce here off the lows, but as you can see, this downtrend coming from the start of this year is still very much in effect, lower highs, lower lows. I also want to mention we just got a post here on tariffs from Trump on Truth Social. He hasn't announced any new letters, but he did say that, quote, as per letters sent to various countries yesterday, in addition to letters that will be sent today, tomorrow, and for the next short period of time, tariffs will start being paid on August 1st. There's been no change to this date. There will be no change. In other words, all money will be due and payable starting August 1st, 2025. No extensions will be granted. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So why this is significant is because, A, this means we could be getting tariff letters for the foreseeable future, because he said that it could continue for the next, quote, short period of time. And, we have to really wait and see what this does. I mean, the U.S. dollar has been responding well to these tariff talks. It's our second straight green day. Let's see how this continues. I also want to let you guys know, Donald Trump speaking at a cabinet meeting starting at 11 a.m. Back to you.
Thank you, Derek. Just want to point out, Walmart's getting hit more than Amazon on this, Walmart was already rejecting. We talked about 100 being a problem, this on the daily chart, but wow, Walmart heavy selling now 2.7. It was just 2.5% down. It just lost like the 50 period. Maybe it can catch a bid at $96, but everything that you would say about Amazon for that headline, and you can understand the reaction. Walmart absolutely taking on chin to a bigger level for sure. Just a quick note, like the Nasdaq just pulled back into the lows. Tesla still looks relatively strong, but it hasn't really come back into that 300 yet. So when the market's at the lows or looking weak, be patient with long opportunities. I'm looking for Tesla maybe to give us right back into VWAP here at like 299, maybe the 300 to re-enter. Fortunate to have gotten out. It managed to get to target before the market turned, but the Nasdaq just hit the low of the day. So you got to be careful. You can't hold on to things forever. I said that with SOFI. Tesla definitely looking a little bit better, but yeah, I'm not going to be rushing to get into this at 11 o'clock. I mean, Tesla has worked out, SOFI has worked out, but sometimes you got to understand the market's looking weak, and the longs aren't what they were 15, 20 minutes ago, or half an hour ago.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to get a new iPhone at some point as well. The wife needs one. Okay, so yeah, things are going well, man. We do have CoreWeave, and we're just getting more fills on this one, as this is now still that $3. I got out of all of Big Bear AI. I mean, we had less than 5% left. This is going to be, I don't know, if CoreWeave makes the move down to where I think it could be, CoreWeave could overtake Big Bear AI, but Big Bear AI is going to be my P&L #1 for today. But at this point, I mean, let's just go over what's for lunch. I'm going to go over to the gym. We're going to figure that out. Yesterday oops, that's not what I'm trying to show you. That's the actual menu. I'm supposed to read the menu. All right, so, yesterday we did have that Greek chicken, which is pretty good. We had a chicken breast on the salad there yesterday. It was pretty decent menu.
A little dry, but
yeah, maybe.
Usually is.
Maybe a little bit dry. Yeah, chicken breast generally pretty dry. You got to have some kind of sauce on that. We had a great date night. Tonight's date night's going to be pretty expensive, but we are running the gauntlet today anyways. All right, today is one of Joe's unfavorited items. Today we have beef stroganoff for lunch with, again, buttered egg noodles, steamed vegetables, and chef's choice salad. So
you heard the stroganoff.
You heard stroganoff. So beef stroganoff there today with buttered egg noodles, steamed veggies, and chef's choice salad. So there it is, man. That is your beef strogie going through there today. So, hopefully we can all enjoy some of that. Although it never comes on top of a salad, that might not taste that great.
That would be sacrilege.
Yeah, we are not worried too much about anything other than our trading. And right now, there it comes back in over 3. We are waiting for 154.25 to come in. As look at the market coming back into that bottom. We could have shorted the Nasdaq, and maybe we should have. But I'm again trying to focus on exiting, a lot of the trades, and then around 10 o'clock, then trying to work for some new ideas, talk a little bit about the market, give you guys a little bit bit of a take there, look at what's going on in the chat, so on and so forth. So today the TQs did give us another bumped up opportunity. You could have shorted against that day high. And again, until we get any news about countries that matter, right now, I think the market's going to wait for earnings. We've got bank next week. We talked about that. And then after that, we wait. So I think it's worth holding out a little bit. The bank stocks are getting hit today. A stock like Marvell, a stock like Intel, a stock like SMCI, all starting to go. Like, there goes Marvell, 72 up to 73.20. So, yeah, like some of the good themes are still there, right? The chip themes are still there. Intel giving us some love there today. iBit not doing anything as Bitcoin sits here at 108 and change. So that could be something that we talk about in the upcoming days and weeks. We'll talk about it every day, but, you know, where's that going? Are we breaking through all-time highs there? ETHA, you know, there's a lot of sort of spice come out of Bitcoin and seems to be maybe into Ethereum a little bit, although this is well off of its all-time highs, well off of even its recent highs of $22. So we'll wait to see if Ethereum can get going as well. And then is Big Bear AI a short? You guys want me to look over there? Yeah, I mean, I would think that that's probably the right call there for Big Bear AI. But again, like at the end of the day, you know, all we're trying to do is make a call on what we may think could potentially happen here. And we are already seen a top. We'd seen Big Bear AI pull back a couple times during the afternoon. And unfortunately, we made that top at 870. If you're gonna go long right now, this is the right spot at the 200 period moving average. And then just give it to $8. If it breaks 8, we can discuss this tomorrow. But yeah, Big Bear AI out of the account. The number one P&L for me today. And you know, it's a 2-for-2 day, but a lot of time, effort, capital, you know, capital, not only mined capital, but also capital for stock trading was put into Big Bear AI and into CoreWeave. So, you know, these are two trades that, again, breaking through that $8, trade things when they're happening. You know, like yesterday, Big Bear AI kind of pretty bouncy there. Unless you got a bottom take, you probably weren't overly happy. So, you know, there are things to do here. Just make sure you're doing what you want to do them right, do them safely, and do them with the right amount of shares so you can make some money. But at the same time, don't blow your accounts up. So if I was on Big Bear AI, I'd probably be looking to get out if we did take $8 again to the downside. So great question there. Keep them coming, and we'll try to do our best. But Big Bear AI, again, a stock that I think a lot of us like long term, and I did get some more out today. I got some out at 8:59. Or 8:58. We talked about that live on the show. I do think that if you don't take profits, then you know, we have only ourselves to blame if the stock reverts, right? I mean, we took some money on Palantir. We waited for that one though, and you know, I still believe in the name, but we'll wait to see what the long-term trend is here for Big Bear AI. So far, so good.
You never know. Like somebody, like news could hit. You can have something, not an Amazon moment, but on any stock at any time. And for anyone that was just tuning in, I saw a couple of people put in the chat, like, what's going on with Amazon? Why is it selling off? If you didn't catch it, Prime Day spending down 14% in the early hours versus last year. And that's according to Bloomberg. So 14% in the opening hours, worse than 2024. Prime Day, Amazon, this is the candle. You can see the volume spike, so you know exactly when the news hit. It is rallying. I thought maybe 217 was the level I was looking for. It actually went down to 218. On that same note, Walmart also lost heavily. You can see the same volume spike. They were already both trending down. Ultimately, the market was trending down as well. It just got a little bit more out of hand. I am actually, before we go back over, I had just been tracking SOFI on the curl. So SOFI lost some support, came right back into the breakout level and pulled a bounce. I tried to punch through on this break of the prior bar candle and didn't get hit. So I didn't get the break as it went back through to the upside. But now that you're holding this prior high, I think it makes an obvious spot to look for the pullback. It's about $20-ish, give or take a couple of pennies. So if it gets back down to 20 and shows another bounce, maybe a few bids down there, then I think going long underneath 2010 is going to make some sense on SOFI. Tesla, whoops, didn't get to 300, not even close. It just turned at 301. So I might have to wait for another opportunity on Tesla. I don't want to chase this. I thought we'd come back into the breakout of the volume weighted average price. Tesla relatively strong. SOFI trying to get back there. I think there's going to be a bottom on this news on Amazon, but it looks like it's going to be higher than where I was. Yeah, I thought it was 17s. It looks like it's already going to be back up. Again, I think it's a bit overdone and overrating the first few hours of Prime Day when ultimately it's a long event. But let's leave you guys to the midday. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. I know there's a lot of small cappers and a lot more to talk about that maybe we've even missed, but you're in the right spot because Sharif and Mr. Beef Stroganoff, champion, we're going to have it locked and loaded for you. I know how excited Joe is.
He's pumped.
Somehow he's going to be able to do the show while thinking about that beef stroganoff.
Maybe he'll even flex on the show.
He might.
If we're lucky
He might.
enough. Maybe these guys will start flexing at some point.
We'll give him extra beef stroganoff if he does.
I think we flexed the trades, so let's let these guys start to flex. Sharif's saying he's going to do it because I said it, but if you rewind,
of course he's going to do it.
They've actually done it every single day. So
probably.
Let's go over to the show right now. It's the Bash Bros. It's the Flex Brothers right now. Let's get going, guys. Show those muscles. Let's go.